Iron Hands going down, Avery brings Torkoal onto the field for free. Under Trick Room, Torkoal is one of the strongest Pokemon in the game, with the sun boosting all fire attacks by 50%, and Orangaru's Instruct allowing it to attack twice in one turn. This Torkoal was ready to erupt.
Of this Torkoal across the way as we see the eruption come through, and that's going to help a little bit, but Tinglu still takes a ton of damage on the switch in.
Momentum in Avery's favor, Takumi's savvy defense turns the tides of Game 1 and punishes Torkoal, putting the Australian youngster in a winning position. Despite properly setting up Trick Room, Game 1 got away from Avery. But even if Orangaru didn't work the first time, it was important for Avery to trust the process and rely on the strategy that got him to the finals.
This one is going into Game 2 with Takumi up 1-0.
After the exact same turn 1 play in Game 2, Avery's Torkoal was ready to take over, which meant it was time for Orangaru to do it again.
Avery once again has the opportunity to bring in the Torkoals. Let's do it again.
Yep, there's the Instruct.
Learning from his mistakes against Tinglu in Game 1, Avery made an adjustment to keep momentum on his side.
This was where last game got a little bit different because he went for the overheat into the Protect. Let's see if Avery goes for it again. See you later, Chiyu.
Although it didn't have a single attacking move, Terrifier Orangaru was the star of the show. The ability to instruct your teammate to attack again would lead to more offense than Takumi could handle.
Doesn't hit this time around. It's going to be another overheat from the Torkoal.
Avery's confidence was back, taking down Takumi's team one by one. This championship
Aí os caras vai e vira o jogo aí, eu quero ver.
The crowd became enchanted with Avery and Orangaru. It was incredibly amusing to watch such a simple yet repeatably effective strategy from a junior. With the first two games playing out the exact same way on turn 1, there would be no surprise what these two trainers would do in Game 3.
This is 3 games, 3 identical turn 1s.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. With Trick Room set up, the crowd was chanting, "Do it again," knowing another Instruct was on the way. Avery's bravery, relying on a 90% accurate overheat to connect twice into Chiyu, would put him into a commanding position. With Takumi Law, he would put all his hopes into Terra Water Fluttermane, but Avery's Orangaru had one final instruction: become champion.
So we know what's coming, and even with that defensive Terra, Avery is getting another bite of the cherry. Avery will be a well-deserved champion, showing a crazy strategy. I think people had forgotten about it too.
Avery is immortalized in Pokemon history as a champion, captivating the audience's heart with his charming personality. As for the Orangaru that clicked in 13 times in the finals, Avery summed up its role on the team perfectly.
So, tell us about your Orangaru. How do you use it?
It doesn't do any damage.
Who knows what the future holds for Avery, and who knows what Iron Hands was going for in all 3 games. But we can be sure that Avery's future will be bright in Pokemon as long as he remembers to do it again. Thank you for watching. Let us know some of your favorite competitive Pokemon moments by using the hashtag #PlayPokemon.
Yo hablo poco español con Ike Rodrigo. Rate my accent, Ike. How was that?
It's
Spanish.
fine, it's
Good? Fine. We'll take fine. Fine is good enough. Ike, you won the Seville Special Championships this time last year, and you're back, currently at a 4-2 record. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. Like, the 2 games I lost were into, like, bad matchups, so it's kind of fine.
Sure.
I don't like losing because I played badly, but this is not the case, so I'm feeling good. I think that I still can make it to phase 2.
Yeah, well, we definitely believe in you, Ike. Having the repeat win would, I mean, how much would that mean to you to win here again?
I think it's really difficult to win.
Sure.
More to repeat. I think it will be like amazing because this year I didn't play too much, so in order to qualify to Worlds, I need to win. So it's the only way.
Okay.
So it will be. I think that will be more special than last year, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you know, just here on a whim, and maybe you'll get the win. would be wonderful if you were at the World Championships, but fundamentally you're having fun. Now let's address the choice band in the room here, Ika. This is beautiful, and you made it yourself?
Yeah, I made by my own at home. So it's because I'm running Dragonite, so it has the choice band. And last year I won most of the Top Cut with Dragonite, so it's like a bit because of him.
A throwback indeed. And not only that, but of course, you're running essentially exactly the same team this time versus last year. But the one Pokemon difference, of course, is it was Reagindo last year, so no Zamazenta. What Pokemon do you have instead of Zamazenta?
So right now I don't have Zamazenta, I have Kingambit, which is a steel type. So it's more or less having like the same kind of role. Not exactly the same, but kind of.
That's so interesting, because of course there are no restricted Pokemon in Regulations ZF, but you're clearly finding that the team, even though it's basically the same, is working well.
I think it's working well. It has also bad matchups, but I think that happens with every team, so I think that it's a really good team.
Good. And the Phase 2 dream is still alive. No more losses are... you can't have any more losses if you want to remain in Phase 2. But hey, you're doing fine. You're doing fine for now. So if you don't win this event, then you won't be at the World Championships this year?
No, sadly no. This year no, because since we are going into Champions, I want to rest. But since it's Seville, I want to come again, so...
Yeah, of course, defend your title. Well, it's absolutely wonderful to have you here. Listen, we'll very shortly let you get rested and ready for the rest of your day, but any shout-outs that you want to give?
I want to shout out especially to Sergio and Citinho, that are the ones with who I prepare this year the team and the tournament, and especially last year because I prepared the whole tournament with Sergio, and he helped me again, so shout out to him. All my friends, family who are watching, of course, but especially to both of them.
Yeah, wonderful. Friends and family, it takes a village to raise a Pokemon trainer. Well, Ike, thank you for joining us. Good luck for the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Trainers will get back to it shortly. Gracias.
What a treat we have for you, Pokemon trainers. We're joined here by Maurice Uteg to tell us a little bit about his experience in the video game championships. Maurice, thank you so much for joining us, and what a pleasure it is to have you along with us. For those at home that haven't come across you before, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me first, of course. I started playing in 2020, I should say. I mean, I visited the regional in 2017, but only as a spectator and lost interest again. So I would say I'm playing the game for roughly 3 years now, and in my first competitive season, 2022, I managed to win the Bremen regional championship, and since then I tried to win the regional again, but I missed it slightly in Lille a few months ago, where I ended up top 8, and in Malmo where I got top 4. So yeah, I really try to get another win soon, though.
Yeah, I remember in Lille you went undefeated on day 1 in that tournament, and of course you're the Bremen champion as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your play style and your mentality when it comes to playing?
Well, I would say I'm kind of known as the Grimmsnarl guy, because I won with Grimmsnarl. I had a good world run with Grimmsnarl. Malmo top 4 was also with Grimmsnarl. So I was happy to show to myself and to other people as well that I'm not a one-trick pony, basically, that I can play other teams as well. In Lille, I didn't have a Grimmsnarl at all, so I was quite happy to show that I don't have a specific playstyle at all.
But that's one of those things, is sometimes the tried and tested are the things that really get you to those top finishes, and the things that you're comfortable with. But of course, finding those new things, finding different Pokemon to play with isn't just something that you do on your own. And I know that you're a big part of the German VGC community. Tell us a little bit about that and how that is to be a part of.
Well, when I joined Pokemon in 2020, obviously COVID happened, so I couldn't attend any regionals. So it was really tough for me to find friends really to play with. So I ended up actually quite disconnected from the German VGC community, because I ended up with other people from around Europe. And since then, I told myself it's really bad for newer players that we don't really have a great way introducing them to the community. So there was this Discord, Warrior Esports, where I ended up going, and we managed to make a great spot for newer players, especially of the German community, of course. And it's really nice to see this being so active. I don't have that much time anymore, but it's so nice to see that we have like some training sessions twice a week, and there are always people in voice chat and talking. And yeah, it's great to see what we build up there.
That's fantastic, getting newer players involved and, you know, sharing the love and knowledge of the game in that community. And can you talk to us a little bit about the other German players who are maybe more established that people should have an eye out for?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's Markus Statter. every German player knows him. He obviously did a lot for the community as well, and he still is, even though he's like working full time. I don't know how he pulls it off, so it's really crazy. And then we have the upcoming star, Michael the Best, Michael Kelsch, who managed to go finalist in the World Championship in 2023, which is just absolutely amazing because he started playing VGC in January. So yeah, I think these are the players to definitely I look up to.
That's absolutely fantastic. And to round out, can you tell us what's your favorite team you've ever used?
I mean, my favorite team's got to be my Berman winning team, right? Obviously, I said I try to not have a specific play style. I tend to use more defensive teams, and I mean, I have to admit, screens teams are just so fun to me. I don't know. It's so nice to think ahead how to mitigate the damage of the opponents, and yeah, this is just what I really love about the Grimmsnarl that was introduced in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, fair enough. That's maybe a favorite Pokemon? I don't know. Grimmsnarl? Would you say that's...
My favorite Pokemon will be Kartana for a while. I hope it comes, hope it comes into the games again, so I can play it in some tournaments as well. Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, we'll see if Kartana comes along. Thank you so much for joining us, Maurice. We hope you learned a lot from that Spotlight Trainers. I know that Ben and I did, and we'll be getting back to the action very shortly.
Marcus, what did Indeedee say while she set up Trick Room next to Ursaluna?
Need Trick Room? No, I don't know.
Bear with me. Welcome back, Pokemon Trainer, to the Seville Special Championships. Marcus is barely able to contain his laughter. I'm Charlie Merriman, and I'm merry by name and merry by nature. And Marcus is on the desk here alongside me. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Still have to think about that one for a while, but no, it's good. I like where you're going and bringing the joy and the jokes. So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thanks so much. You understood the joke?
No, I do.
Okay,
I did.
Right, yeah,
I think so. Just barely. Just barely.
Just about got there. Let's take a look at how the traders are doing out there at the Seville Special Championship so far. In day one, we do have a few 6 and 0s there, an undefeated record. Really incredible. Antonio Sanchez, our Liverpool regional champion from 2 seasons ago. To name but one, Miguel Paquete, who we just saw on stream as well.
Yeah, we're down to that phase of the tournament where there's only a couple of players left that are undefeated, only 9 to be exact. And those players, they have made it. They're qualified for phase 2, but of course in our tournament structure, every additional win from phase 1 is going to carry over and count just as much as a win in phase 2. So even if you are undefeated and already confirmed to keep playing on, then of course you still want to continue winning. And that is what these players will want to do. Yeah, you were calling out a couple there. And yeah, we also saw that there is still a high mixture there. I guess a lot of Spanish players that maybe we also don't get to see that often. Of course, that's the beauty about some of these special championships. We get to highlight some of the players that we don't get to see that often in international tournaments. But they're doing really well here, making a name for themselves, just like Iker. You got to talk to them earlier, and who's also still doing decent in the tournament.
Yeah, Iker at 4 and 2, so will have to win out from here in order to secure their spot in phase 2. but what other matches are going on in the venue right now? What match will we be bringing to you, lovely people at home? Let's find out. Okay, we got Sam Bentham of the UK going up against Javier Ferreira. Marcus, I said it to you backstage. I wanted to see a Reagindo, and we've got one on stream. Reagindo and Galarian Weezing. We'll be talking a lot more about that matchup shortly. We've got so many other fantastic names here.
Yeah, these players here at 5-1, so they are looking to get that win here this round, and then they would move on to phase 2 guaranteed. We have Marcus Ko with the Dondozo team, trusted team. We saw him earlier on stream where he was saying, yeah, he is confident, he's looking forward to playing more with this team that he really likes so dearly. And then, yeah, Roberto Parente, top 4 at UIC, bringing the same team again up against Javier. And then there is Ismael against Marcos. Primarina still in the running as well.
Yeah, Primarina finished in 8th position, piloted by Lucy Fleming at the Houston Regional Championships last weekend. As well as see hop across the pond and join us here at the Special Championships.
Okay, I have a one-liner for you as well.
Love it.
What did the Ursaluna say when it was standing across the Boron zone?
I don't know.
Oh, that's unbearable.
Nice, yeah, there's all sorts you can do with Bear, but bear with us as we now go over to the stage. A Xerneas sitting QT plush on the stage as the plushie metagame continues to evolve. Not a Pokemon we have access to yet, but we may well do soon. Have you been missing Xerneas, Marcus?
Next question.
Thought you might say something like that. No plushie over on the other side of the table, but I'm sure that they're in spirit. Is that the Furret again on the shoulder? Yeah, it is. It's the Furret. Wonderful. What's your favorite Route 1 normal type Pokemon? Trainers, let us know with the hashtag #PlayPokemon. Now, we'll unpack this matchup as we get into the team preview, but of course the headline that we have to elucidate for you all is this Reagindo and Galarian Weezing. Reagindo with the ability Slow Start, meaning that it's slower and not hitting as powerfully as when it's a few turns into the game. The Galarian Weezing, of course, turns off that Slow Start ability thanks to the neutralizing ghost.
I had a line there. I was gonna say, okay, Dondozo games, sometimes they're off to a little bit of a slow start, but I don't think that's what we're seeing with the Weezing involved here, but yeah, you beat me to it. Sam Bantham, player that has been around for a very long time. I think the first time I ran into Sam might have been 2012 in some tournaments, and yeah, also yeah, a player that has made it to the later stages of tournaments a couple of times. However, I don't think he has a win just yet. 2 top 8s and a couple of top 16 there at our regional level events. One of those players that is still looking to maybe one day get that big trophy home, but still definitely a threat going up here against Javier.
Pelo último round, a Light infelizmente deu uma queda, mas
that
2025 Stuttgart Regional Top 64. I actually faced Javier in day 1 of the Stuttgart Regional Championships. It was a close game, went to 3. Javier ended up with the win, but a lovely person, and you know, our kudos to both of these trainers for reaching this position of the tournament. Really would love either of them to win. Unfortunately, though, there can only be one winner, and it'll be fascinating to see how Javier and Sam match up. This is a win and in. Whoever wins this game will secure their spot in phase 2.
Here we go. Do you see the I'm distracted here by the matching between Sam's arm and t-shirts.
Yeah, the Gardevoir. I'm a big Gardevoir fan here, traders, but no Gardevoir on the team. Yeah, it's very tight, though. In that flutter, we've got Fungus, Urshifu, Tornadus, and Raging Bolt. That's Terra Flying here.
Gotta love the sharp beak on the other flying type of team. That Tornadus there ready to deal out some serious damage with Bleak Wind Storm. And I like the combination of move choices here between the Icy Wind and Electro Web, because together with Tailwind you can really establish good speed control. And this team kind of reminds me a little bit of the team that Wolf and I were using at EYC in 2024, and that Wolf then used to win, I think it was Orlando Regionals, where there was a Landorus over the Raging Bolt slot, but also had that Flutter main with the booster energy and booster special attack, which, yeah, has fallen out of favor quite a bit, but, well, I mean, we don't know for sure, but I think looking at the team, it might be one of those booster special attack Flutter mains. And yeah, that is something that I will look out for here in this matchup, as both players are exchanging team sheets. Now they will get to see what their opponent is bringing into this match.
Do mano Javier
there's going to be, well, I would like to see the look on Sam's face as he opens up the team sheet and sees that this team
Reagindo. Vindo mais pior. Passo dele vermelhinho. Esses jogos redondosos de Ah, esse é um dos times que eu queria ver, porque o cara tem um Reagindo.
As we said, shutting off the ability so that Reagigigas can thrive. And then, of course, that Tasgirian Dondozo. And Marcus, for traders who aren't so familiar with Reagigigas, and I'm sure there are many of you out there, can you tell us a little bit more about Crush Grip?
Yeah, firstly, thank you very much to the arrangement. Yeah. I think it's very fitting also the way that you described it. So yeah, Crush Grip is going to do a lot of damage based on the weight difference between the two. And yeah, Reagigigas is quite heavy usually. So yeah, Crush Grip is going to do a lot of damage based on the weight.
Peraí.
Difference between the two. Bit of a slow start, utilizing gas, of course, of that wheezing makes it so that Reagigigas is ready to go right from the first turn, and then with the life orb, it has very good stats. In fact, if you compare them, it would more fit in with like some of the legendary Pokemon. But yeah, no, you can use it in Regulation Set F, and there it is right away. Reagigigas and Wheezing going up against Tornadus and Urshifu, and yeah, let's not forget, with Wheezing on the field, neutralizing gas activates, and no ability are going to be here, which includes, funnily enough, Unseen Fist, so you can actually go for Protect in the face of this Urshifu.
It's threatened by the fighting type damage that Urshifu can dish out. It's actually wonderful, I think, that we get to feature this matchup between an unconventional team and a more conventional one, so that Javier can show us exactly why they're piloting this archetype, one that is so rare in Regulation Set F. Reagigigas an absolute behemoth, but let's see if it's able to get around the Urshifu. It does have Terra Ghost, so it is at least able to sit pretty on the field as long as you spend that Terra option. Tornadus will just be keeping itself safe, no damage going to that slot. Now we turn our attention over to the Urshifu as well, so this is the double protect. Sam getting a read on how Javier likes to approach this matchup, and you can't blame Sam because, of course, again, this is such a rare archetype to run into. Although it has been rising a little bit throughout Regulation Set F, one to give it a last hurrah here in the final Regulation Set F Major. So the Dazzling Gleam is just going to be protected by both of those Pokemon there. They're now heading into the next turn. Sam cannot use Protector safely.
Yeah, Sam going there for a little bit of a passive play, even though there was the chance of a potential toxic spikes being set by this Wheezing over on Javier's side. But yeah, calling out that quite nicely, it was just going to be a Dazzling Gleam, so you can protect to scout out, but no real advancements made, I would say. Yeah, well, if Reagigigas is trained to be really fast, it could potentially outpace this Tornadus, and because Prankster is shut down, it might be able to move first. And yeah, I believe I might have mixed things up a little bit. I think Crush Grip actually works based on how much HP the target has left. It's quite the interesting move. Yeah, but either way, it's going to do a lot of damage, and it could be absolutely crucial here if Javier's Reagigigas is trained to be really speedy, and if Sam's Tornadus is not outspeeding it, well, it just used Protect. It's staying on the field. I don't know, maybe with a Life Orb Crush Grip, can you knock out this source of speed control right away for Javier?
It's going to be the Terra spent on both sides of the field. The Terra goes for Reagigigas to keep it safer from the fighting type Urshifu, but now it is a pure water type, at least defensively speaking. So both trainers stepping on the gas. There's no slow start in play here. The Tornadus is still faster, able to get the Tailwind set up, even though Prankster is shut down thanks to the Galarian Wheezing. Surging Strikes targeted down into the Reagigigas, so calling out the Terra, and it's dealing a good amount of damage there with those critical hits. Reagigigas should still hang on with a sliver here to be able to respond with a big blow, but let's find out just how much damage it's going to be able to dish out. This Titan Golem, the Crush Grip, the signature moves so much into that Urshifu, but the Life Orb Chip is going to be enough to get the responding KO on the Reagigigas.
Yeah, that's a big loss here for Javier, losing Reagigigas. Let's see though, Wheezing with the Poison Gas, okay, just like Dazzling Gleam would have been able to do, Urshifu should be going down, and because Javier invested the Terrestrialization there to cover for potential Tailwind and Close Combat play, but Sam on the other side also investing their Terra to get the knockout here, I think it's a trade that both trainers can live with. But it's gonna mean that, yeah, no Terra available for either player, and two of their big damage dealers are knocked out. though this is important information then for the upcoming games, seeing as Tornadus over on Sam's side actually was outspeeding Regigigas even without the prankster ability. So let's have a look here. 2 special attackers in the back for Sam. It could be Dondozo for Javier waiting in the back, or it could also be a GU and Fluttermane combination. I feel like, though, looking at the fact that there's no extra speed control for Javier, I really think you want to have Dondozo in the back with this Weezing and Regigigas lineup potentially. Yeah. And yeah, with a substitute, I think that might be one of those instances where substitute can come in quite handily actually on Fluttermane.
And it is that Dondozo. This is the thing, I'll be really fascinated to see how Javier plays this out from here, because once the Regigigas goes down, you kind of don't want the Weezing on the field anymore, you want those abilities in play, but we've seen plenty of other Galarian Weezing, Dondozo, Tatsugiri combinations, and so trainers are able to make that work. You can easily switch out the Weezing here and get the Tatsugiri in, should you so desire, but the Fluttermane, of course, is going to be dishing out big special attack damage.
Yeah, not that big though, as the photosynthesis is currently being shut down still by neutralizing gas. So as long as Weezing is on the field, that booster energy not a factor yet. But of course also Dondozo doesn't have the boosts yet until Tatsugiri switches in. So Javier has to make a choice and has to commit at some point, deciding that now is the time. Okay, neutralizing gas wears off, abilities are back, but Javier using that fantastically to get that commander going. And now let's have a look. Booster energy is going to be that special attack boost we were hinting at.
And commander activating on the Tatsugiri, of course, so now Dondozo is going to get all of those beautiful boosts. So Javier can no longer withdraw either the Tatsugiri or the Dondozo. That's the opportunity cost of having this combination out on the field. But let's just hope that this big fish has enough in the tank to be able to mitigate the slow start that Regigigas
wow.
But wow, that critical here from the Fluttermane, that is going to be putting a spanner in the works. Of course, Tatsugiri is going to dodge, and just like that, Dondozo goes down, Tatsugiri hops out just as soon as it hopped in, and Javier is down to their final 2 Pokemon. Big critical hit.
Yeah, there you have it. Everyone was asking, oh, how to deal with Dondozo, it's so difficult to knock out. Well, just get good and get a critical hit.
Just crit. It's the skill difference training.
Well, yeah, well, I guess with that, the game is probably moving towards the end a little bit quicker than we would have thought. But this might actually be quite crucial, because if Sam can play out this game without revealing their last and final Pokemon, this could give him quite the edge here, as yeah, Tatsugiri is just being knocked out, no more Terrestrialization available, and it is actually a safety goggle set, so could have gone for Protect, but Javier decided not to. As Weezing just spreads a little bit more poison, but one thing I wanted to mention here is the fact that Javier did not go for the Toxic Spikes earlier in the match, and this is probably because he was afraid of Amoonguss over on Sam's side. But we already saw that Sam didn't actually bring Amoonguss, so if Sam can shut down this game and can win without revealing their final Pokemon, I think this could be some important information that Sam is withholding from Javier, as yeah, it seems like Javier was quite sure that it has to be Amoonguss there waiting in the back.
And you might be thinking, well, if this game is a route, why is Javier going for Protect on the Weezing? Gives you that valuable thinking time heading into the next turn. Of course, you can also use Protect to stall out any conditions on the field. And heading into the next game, I mean, of course, the critical hit on the Dondozo was really detrimental for Javier there, but also, you do want to get more out of your Regigigas. You want to get more mileage out of that slow start. It's difficult, though, to bring Regigigas in the back because you need 2 Pokemon. You need the Regigigas and the Weezing to be able to activate the Regigigas most effectively. So the surefire way to get them both on the field at the same time is to lead them. So heading into Game 2, I'll be fascinated to see what Javier's Game 2 adaptation is, because he's sure to have all sorts of tricks up his sleeve with this combination. Such a fantastic player as Javier. Weezing just not being knocked out there by the Bleakwind Storm. It's out to Martin and Berry as well. It's only a matter of time, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but again, valuable thinking time.
Hey, wow, this Weezing was taking those special hits quite well. This was a single target Bleakwind Storm boosted by the Sharp Beak and a Choice Specs Shadow Ball, but yeah, just not quite enough. Weezing maybe can get a couple more protects in to potentially stall out. Couple more poison turns, and then Javier would get to see Raging Bolt waiting in the back, and I think Raging Bolt there definitely would be a strong option if there was a GU over on Javier's side. So a little bit of a, yeah, this is kind of Sam trying to cover all the different options over on Javier's team. But with how this game went, Javier might want to think about making an adjustment here as Weezing fails the double protect and Shadow Ball is going to get this final knockout.
But listen, Marcus, Reagindo ability is slow start. Just because Javier's got off to a slow start here, it doesn't mean that they can't come back and win the next 2 games. So, let's see, heading into game 2, just how Javier is able to pilot this Golem from the Sinnoh region all of the better. Huge props to Sam there. Marcus, how different do you think that game looks if the Flood Domain doesn't get through?
Well, definitely would have looked quite different, because I think, yeah, Dondozo would have gotten a KO that turn, probably on the Flutter main right away. And then, yeah, you have to play a little bit of a different game. However, there was still this Assault Vest Raging Bolt waiting in the back for Sam that didn't even need to join the battle. And I think with that, Sam was looking to be in a solid spot either way, so even without that critical hit. But that, of course, accelerated everything quite dramatically. And so, yeah, I think Sam's lead of Tornadus and Urshifu proved to be very, very strong against what Javier had to offer, because we got to see that, okay, actually, this Tornadus is quite fast. It's faster than Regigigas, and so it can set Tailwind without Prankster and allow its partner Urshifu to do all the damage. Also there with that Terra Water, Surging Strikes, boosted by the Mystic Water, doing so much damage. And with this trade, I think Sam set himself up for a very, very strong endgame. And yeah, I don't really see any great way for Javier to counter this lead, because yeah, the Flutter main and GU that weren't brought to this match, well, they also don't fare so well against this Tornadus and Urshifu combination. So I think Sam found a way to really get an advantage in this matchup.
Well, just as you say, Marcus, it's the run back of the leads for Javier and indeed for Sam. Glaring, Weezing and Regigigas goes up against Tornadus and Urshifu. So once again, Javier feels under the pressure to go for the Terra Ghost on Regigigas, but that means that Sam can use the information to his advantage and maybe target the Glare and Weezing instead, or go for a Surging Strikes. But one thing's for certain, Javier wants to get more out of the Regigigas this game.
Yeah, and if you go for Terrestrialization, then of course, as we saw, you don't have it available for later on in the game, and you might want to have the option, especially if you have Dondozo in the back and you're taking on Amoonguss or Raging Bolt, you really would want to Terrestrialize your Dondozo. So a big decision to make for Javier here once more. Are you trying to call a close combat? I also wouldn't be surprised if this is a, say, Protect and Poison Gas play maybe from Javier, but then at the same time, just going for another Tailwind and Surging Strikes play here looks so solid, but okay, actually it's the Icy Wind coming out this time around.
The Icy Wind dropping the speed of both Regigigas and Weezing.
And just doing that little bit of chip damage that might allow Urshifu to get the knockout in this game with Surging Strikes. Let's have a look at how much damage that is going to do.
The margins are going to be so fine. In the last game, Regigigas was just able to hang on, but now with that chip damage, it does hang on again. But any attacking move, of course, is going to go down to the Life Orb recoil. Here comes another Crush Grip. It brought the Urshifu down, okay, to 14 HP around that last time, but this time a critical hit and the one-hit KO onto Urshifu. So this is mileage here for Javier, but it's going to be a tale as old as time, history repeating itself as the Life Orb takes out Regigigas. So once more, both Urshifu and Regigigas are down, but as a difference, this time Javier hasn't spent his Terrestrialization.
Very important, and this time around, once again, Poison Gas going down on Tornadus is going to tick away on its HP. But, well, Tailwind not set up yet. So now if Javier had a Pokemon that was faster than Tornadus in the back and that could threaten it, then that would be great. Though, yeah, I have a feeling that once more it's going to be Tatsugiri and Dondozo in the back for Javier. But let's see, this time around, it is Amoonguss for Sam. There is Dondozo, but as you pointed out, Terrestrialization not spent yet for Javier. So this Dondozo, I have a feeling it's going to go grass at some point.
Terra Grass indeed on this Dondozo, so it's immune to any spores that the Amoonguss can dish out here. So once more, the Regigigas was here for a good time, not a long time, and once more, it hasn't got off to that quick start that we like to see, but maybe, just maybe, now with the Terra option available, Javier can take us to a Game 3.
Let's see, though. Sam can, of course, anticipate a potential terrestrialization coming out from this Dondozo, but it seems like Javier is fine, looking to play, okay, I just want to get one more turn in, so that's going to be a little bit more toxic damage for you, and also an opportunity to set up toxic spikes, as Amoonguss is already in the field, cannot soak them up, and Sludge Bomb is going to go into Protect, so a great play there by Javier, really optimizing these turns between Weezing and Dondozo. Now, though, the switch into the Tatsugiri, switching Weezing into Tatsugiri is very telegraphed. So Sam could kind of force both attacks into Dondozo, but once again, it's this question, okay, is Dondozo going for the terrestrialization or not? Are you going for a Sludge Bomb or Spore? And yeah, Sam really debating what to do here in this spot.
Well, Weezing is indeed going to withdraw in favor of, presumably, the Tatsugiri coming in from the back to combine with Dondozo. Of course, the abilities are now back online. Tornadus has its Prankster ability active, and let's not forget that layer of toxic spikes that littered around the feet of Sam Bentham's team. So once more, Dondozo will get its boost here. Has it gone for the terrestrialization? That will we will get the confirmation of that after these boosts on the Dondozo, because if not, then it's definitely a sitting target for the Spore from Amoonguss going to sleep and not acting. There's no terrestrialization, just a Bleakwind Storm, and it's of course going to dodge the Tatsugiri. Dondozo will take some chip. Is there a speed drop too? Yes, there is, so now only +1 to its speed. Dondozo gets the order up off this time into Tornadus in order to boost its defense. So I like this play from Javier saying, okay, you can put me to sleep, but in return, I'm going to be taking your physical moves all the better. But it depends what that final Pokemon in the back is for Sam.
Yeah, I think Urshifu, that's all the physical damage that we will see here in this game for Sam. So not going to do a whole lot there with order up, but this is the point in the battle where Dondozo just sitting on the field is a net positive for Javier, because, well, Javier is going to recover HP. That's going to be fine, but Sam will take residual damage every turn. Tornado is already quite low. There's no Pollen Puff on Amoonguss, so no hope for recovering any HP here. And, well, we already know that it will be Fluttermane in the back. However, you could use these sleep turns to maybe bring in Fluttermane, maybe set up a substitute, and then maybe try to make something happen like that. But you really need to optimize your turns, and you cannot just like switch around. If you're Sam, you cannot switch around too much, because you will just let this Dondozo burn through the sleep turns.
The moveset on Dondozo is Order Up, Earthquake, and Body Press. Of course, the Order Up with the Droopy Tatsugiri, I believe that one is, getting the defense boost, meaning that the Body Press is hitting all the harder. So Order Up, just the biggest move that Dondozo had access to into the Tornadus in this situation. Bleakwind Storm dodges the Tatsugiri again, and this time it will connect with the Dondozo. Is there going to be another speed drop? Not this time around, so still at +1. Dondozo, of course, takes that turn of sleep. Fluttermane just freshly switched in. Here comes the Leftovers recovery. From this point on, the Dondozo could, of course, wake up and just get those protects off and start getting damage down on the field. But yeah, Fluttermane is definitely a Pokemon that you like having staring down this Dondozo.
Yeah, and so Tornadus and Fluttermane side by side can get one big turn in. Yeah, I think you gotta go for the damage here instead of the substitute. Javier shaking his head there. Dondozo still asleep. So let's see, maybe another critical hit. Oh, wow, it is another critical hit.
Javier with his head in his hand, and Sam, they're clearly having a laugh about it over the table, but yeah, that is exactly what Sam needed. And Tatsugiri hops out with the unwelcome greeting of the Bleakwind Storm right in the face. And so, unfortunately, that Tatsugiri brought down oh so low. Yes, the poison now takes care of the Tornadus. Yes, you're down to your final two Pokemon, but a Tatsugiri and a Weezing, can they turn around for Javier? I doubt it.
Wow, I was making a joke earlier when I was saying, oh, how to beat Dondozo? Well, just get the critical hit, but I guess maybe that's the strat.
Yeah, Sam, what are you feeding your Fluttermane? Because clearly, I mean, it loves you getting all of these critical hits here. Goodness me.
Wow, yeah, but just like that, both players down to their final two Pokemon, but this Fluttermane is going to be so difficult to remove. Tatsugiri taking so much damage there this previous turn, and now, well, surely in range of a Moonblast. Now, it is a Terra Fairy on the Tatsugiri, so not even the Terra Steel. And yeah, you can just go for big Fairy type moves into it. And Weezing, unfortunately, doesn't have the big damage tools. There's no like Gunk Shot or anything that could even hope of knocking out this Fluttermane. Instead, it's just the Dazzling Gleam, and that's not going to do it.
Yeah, the Spore as well, Wheezing. It's got those puffs of smoke coming out of its head, but now it's going to be snoozing all the way to Cloud9. As the poison is chipping away, and this is kind of disappointing, Marcus. I would have loved to have seen a Regigigas team claim the win here. Let's not forget that Javier is 5-1, has won 5 games so far at the Seville Special Championships. So clearly Regigigas is still putting in work. It's just a shame we couldn't see that on stream.
Yeah, there's going to be one more chance for Javier in the final round of Phase 1, but it seems like in this game, as Tatsugiri does not get the double protect, Fluttermane can go for Moonblast, knock it out, and then it's a 2v1 that this sleeping Wheezing will never be able to win. And it looks like Sam has done it, overcoming the Dondozo, and now all that is left in his way is this sleeping Wheezing.
Yeah, super effective from the... Oh, no, sorry, neutral damage, of course, from the Sludge Bomb there. Respectable damage into the Galarian Wheezing, and Sam Bentham... The 6-1 record, it looks like now, stamping their ticket into Phase 2. Huge congratulations to Sam. Could this be their first big win they've been looking for? It's your Swiss Round 7 winner, Sam Bentham.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not too hard to guess what they were talking about just over there. Of course, the critical moment in both games, I would say. And I'm sure we'll have a little replay in a second to relive those moments. That Fluttermane, though, not once, but twice, getting the critical hit through Dondozo. And that is just a little bit too much for Javier to overcome in this matchup.
Yeah, goodness me. I don't know if you remember Seville last year, Marcus, but we kept saying un golpe critico, Spanish for critical hit.
Yes.
Now, Sam's game is, of course, in English, but that seems to be the tale this weekend as well. Well, wonderful, though, to see a Regigigas rise to the fore, and, of course, a couple of great Tusk teams. If you're just tuning in, trainers, and you want to go back and check the matches that we've had so far at the Seville Special Championships, because trainers are really innovating for one of our final Regulation Set F events. And if you are just tuning in, let's remind ourselves of everything that went down in this game. This beautiful Regigigas. Which is your favorite of the Regis, Marcus?
Oh, it's tough. They're all awesome, but Regigigas going down this time around. Both games to the Life Orb recoil, and then here, the first one, the big critical hit in Game 1. Kind of sealed the deal there. I think Sam was in a decent spot even without the critical hit, but that definitely helped as, then Fluttermane and Tornadus were able to sweep the rest of Javier's team. And then we would be going into Game 2. And of course, we were all wondering, okay, what's going to happen this time around? Well, it started off with another critical hit, this time on Urshifu. But then there it goes again, the Fluttermane critical hit, knocking out Dondozo for a second time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't Javier's round, but that's going to happen in Pokemon. This is a game where luck does come into play. And, you know, look at the Houston finals last weekend. Ninetales missing a crucial heat wave in the decisive Game 3, and ultimately the win went over to Dylan Matthews. Pokemon is a game, yes, there's a little bit of luck, but there's a whole lot of skill as well. What's that thing that trainers say, Marcus, that you're going to lose one round to bad play, one round to bad luck, and then it's all on you from there? Which I'm sure is too blanket a term to be able to actually work out perfectly, but yeah. How did they get their practice, though, Marcus, do you think?
That's a very good question indeed. So I think, well, they're probably talking to some other trainers, asking them for battles, but then to get a real feedback and get that real practice in, that would be, of course, at local tournaments. And this is what a lot of even our top players attend to, get their practice in, to meet new people in the community. And let's have a look at what some of those locals might look like.
Hey, do you want to play?
Yeah.
Nice.
One shot?
Wait, that one, yeah.
I'll use twin cannons.
Great game, guys.
Bye. See you next week.
Come play at your local Pokemon League.
Hey, you want to play?
Sure. That could be you. Right there, that could be you. We want to see you at your local, and you can scan this QR code to find where it is. We'd love to see you at your local scene. This is where it all begins, trainers. This is where you can try out those teams. Just come, if it's your very first Pokemon event, a local will be absolutely perfect just to dip your toe into the water and see if competitive Pokemon is for you. And I'm sure you will find something there that speaks to you.
Absolutely, and maybe you could face that Regigigas team. I know it's very common and feared in Madrid local events, and I also know that over in the Netherlands there is a player that is bringing this team to every local tournament. Then of course at some point maybe it gets a little bit predictable and you can plan ahead, but yeah, regardless, again, here you will be able to find local events around you, and yeah, I can speak from experience. They're definitely a lot of fun to play. When was your last local?
That's a good question, Marcus. It was a while ago, and it was in Belgium, of all places. It wasn't even in the UK. I brought a Frostmoth team.
That's
awesome.
It
was Regulations at F. It was Frostmoth, very stally, very opposite to what I tend to like to play, but I finished third, so I'll take that. Yeah. Had a great time, and I still think Frostmoth has undiscovered potential. But enough about us. We've got our interview ready. Let's go over to your winner of Swiss Round 7. Wham, bam, thank you, Sam.
Wham, bam, indeed, as we have got Sam Bentham, our winner of Swiss Round number 7 here in Seville, locking your way straight into Phase 2. Sam, it must feel really good. Here, just tell me a bit about how you're feeling, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're happy to win.
Yes.
A bit of an anticlimax for the people at home, I think, on through to crit the dozo twice. But I will certainly take those. And great to be back in Phase 2. I've had a bit of a mixed bag of a season, mixed bag of a few seasons, frankly. So
I can relate. Don't worry. But no, I mean, it's great to be able to see you. I caught it up last time with your EUIC as well. Still the same regulation format, but, you know, being able to bring the team that you have, you're looking very comfortable with it. But let's be real. What was going through your mind when obviously you're on stream, you know, there's a bit of pressure, but you're not unfamiliar with stream matches as well. But you're going up against your opponent and you see a Regigigas on the team sheet. Not only does it have Crush Grip, but there's also Dondozo in the back. What's going through your mind?
Not again. It's the first thing, to be honest. Eagle-eyed viewers will remember that, in fact, this very round 7 last year at this event, I played against Weezing Dozo on stream. And lost that game, actually, in a pretty weird set overall. I still haven't had the heart to go back and review it, to be honest. But yeah, obviously really, really scary. It's enormously powerful, very, very hard to KO. And to be honest, I think you can see from my play, a lot of the times, like, get rid of it. Get rid of it and I'll deal with the dozo later. Just try and get it off the board. There are kind of two ways you can approach it. You can either try and KO the Weezing and say, well, now the Gigas is half a Pokemon because of slow start. Or you can try and remove the Gigas and then say Weezing is like half a Pokemon now because really it's just there to support the Gigas and the Dozo. And Amoonguss turns off the Spikes element. So you can go either way. In the end, basically, I made my decision off the basis of I think Weezing is slightly more likely to make a passive play because it's the mon that benefits from being around in the end game. And not only that, but the Gigas is actually slightly easy to KO because it does Life Orb Recoil to itself. And you see both games. Game 1, it got KO'd by its own Life Orb Recoil. In Game 2, I tried to finish it off beforehand and it didn't work. And then Life Orb Recoil again. So, I took that approach, but yeah, incredibly scary. All these teams always are. There's a reason they're infamous, right? Nobody wants to play this.
That's what I mean. It's sort of like a bit of matchup roulette in terms of forcing your opponent, if you're running one of these kind of teams, as we saw from your opponent's side, to essentially match up, check them, see if they've got something for it, and if they don't, c'est la vie for them. But having 2 of those modes is quite, I would say, challenging, right? But you handled yourself really well. There were a couple of crits, not only in your favor, there was also the Crush Grip crit in Game 2, I think, that picked off that Urshifu, but it seemed like you had a really good hold, like you sort of were talking about now with the strategy of trying to deal with the main damage sweepers. So you're able to do a really good job about it. You have now locked yourself in to Phase 2 of Seville Special Championships. What are your initial thoughts about that? Like, what does it mean to you? Because I know that you've been playing for quite some time, Sam. You're a great guy, fierce competitor. If I'm not mistaken, 2012 was...
UK Nationals 2012.
UK Nationals? Come a long way from now. So how are you feeling, my friend?
Yeah, you know, more than anything else, it's a real privilege to get to come here and play this still. I am enormously blessed. I think it's no secret that people that know me know I've never achieved quite as much as I'd like in the game. I always wanted slightly more than I've had, but you know, more than anything else, I'm just really, really grateful to still be here with all the people that have supported me and still enjoying Pokemon. You know, and more than anything else, I come on stream and say I hope I can give us you know, a set where really VGC is the winner, and I'll try and carry that forward.
Stop trying to make me tear up, my friend, because it's slightly working. I'm trying to hold it back, but no, that is beautiful to hear. And don't put yourself down. You're not a stranger in terms of achievements. You've been able to get a couple of top 8s. Jokopin in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, but also you have that consistency. I think it's just sort of trying to find that right moment for yourself, and so far, it's doing incredibly well for yourself. So talking a bit about your team then, in comparison to EUIC, how does that sort of change in terms of your playstyle and any sort of differences with the team roles or components themselves?
Well, at EUIC, I tried something slightly different. I played a balanced team for the first time in a very long time, and had a bit of a middling time with it, same as the last couple of events.
Yeah.
But really, quite a lot of the time, I'm not as young as I used to be. You know, as you said, I've been around a very long time.
I know the feeling, my friend. Don't worry.
If you look closely, my hair's going slightly grey. I've got a few years left yet, but you know, what I mean by that is really that adult responsibilities get worse and worse and worse as you get older and older and older. And so I have limited time. And so this whole generation, basically, if you look at my history, ever since Regulation A, I have played some variant of Tailwind offense, but with some kind of defensive backbone to fall back on. So I've got a balanced mode, sort of in this case, Incineroar, Urshifu, Amoonguss, Sluddermane, and also a click Tailwind and rush at my opponent as fast as you can mode. And I've basically played that variants of that team across the generation, really. And so it's really just a return to form for me. What is the best version of that team I can bring, especially with the format in its dying embers?
Yes.
And I thought that this variant looked pretty good. Yotam in the US sent it to me and said, "This looks like a bit of you." Shout out Yotam. Thanks very much, bro. And I said, yeah, it looks good, and got some practice, and here we are, clicking Tailwind and strong spread moves again.
Well, I know, but it's sort of like trying to play to your strengths as well, right? And you've experienced quite a few different formats, so you've been able to have this sort of built-up experience in terms of being familiar with the true things that work really well, depending on, you know, like the powerhouses in the format or whatnot, or what's popular. But leaning back into some form of balance is not ever like a bad thing if it suits your playstyle, and that's what you've been able to show and have more flexibility around. And I did know Raging Bolt had Snarl too, so is that something that you factored in or yourself or Yotam factored in that could be a real divider in terms of certain matchups? Because it's not as common as it used to be. Let's be real.
Yeah, I think Raging Bolt's real strength is its versatility. Right? Yeah. We've seen all manner of sets, Calm Mind sets, Booster Energy sets, with or without Calm Mind, Life Orb sets, the Assault Vest set I'm bringing. It is very, very versatile. And one of the roles you can bring it in is matchup glue.
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of is on this team. I brought it the game one because I suspected that Gigas was slightly more likely to Terra than non-Dondozo pieces usually are on these compositions, just because I was leading Urshifu and threatening to close combat. And as you saw, that's actually what happened game one. And so I thought I could leverage Raging Bolt against a water-type Dondozo. Typically, it doesn't come to this matchup. Snarl is really for Iron Crown, the Iron Crown type teams, and somewhat the very dedicated Trick Room teams within DD Hatterene as well. But yeah, the mod as a whole, the set looks weird. If you just look at it, it's like, what on earth is this mod actually doing? Well, it's kind of just fixing 3 or 4 matchups.
Patching things up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you're just trying to bring up certain bad matchups across the board. You talked about playing to your strength. Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, not just this, but quite a lot of games in the world are really about pattern recognition. And you kind of give yourself a leg up on pattern recognition if you make the patterns look like what you've seen before by bringing similar kinds of teams and similar kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
You always have new things to learn in new regulations, but and new teams, but you can help yourself out a little bit, especially if you don't have infinite time.
100%. I mean, it is really true. Like we said, you got to understand what works, what doesn't, and how you can take advantage of it, really. So talking a bit about the rest of your season so far, I know we're still in this very venue, beautiful venue, Seville Special Championships. You are in phase 2, but are there any future events that you are planning on going to, or at least with this season, or you sort of like a bit on the fence depending on how this one goes this weekend?
Well, I was on the fence until now I'm in phase 2. I'm probably going, so we can talk about that.
Oh yeah, go on.
I'm planning on Utrecht and Torino if I can get a spot in registration. Prague, unfortunately, falls on London Marathon Day, which is my other hobby. So
that's unfortunate.
Can't make that one, which is a shame. I'd love to go to Prague. But one of the best things about traveling is seeing great cities like Sevilla and Prague and so on. So it's a shame, but yeah, I'm planning on going to Utrecht and then hopefully Torino also.
There we go. Still got a couple of more going. You've been doing really good job as well in terms of being consistent with, getting those points accumulated in order to try to get that qualification. But still got a weekend ahead of us. So what I'm going to do is ask if you've got any shout outs you would like to give either to anybody here in the venue, at home, wherever they may be watching.
So many. so many, and that I don't have time for, if I don't mention you, I promise it's because not because I don't like you. I've just so many people. I'm so blessed to have had so many people support me and help me over the years that it's impossible to mention everybody, but I think I'll settle on 3 if that's okay. So Tola, who's over in the US right now and is probably my biggest cheerleader in the community, to be honest, of current players. Really helpful, always has time for me and everybody else, and with a great attitude to the game, and obviously an incredibly successful player himself, won basically everything there is to win. So thanks very much, Tola. I always grateful for your time and support. I woke up to a very nice message from him this morning, actually. So, and then to Ben, I guess your co-worker, Ben Kyriakou, who has supported me incessantly ever since the very beginning. I started playing in 2012. Ben was already a national champion, and I was a newbie. And we were on Skype calls until 6 a.m. with him teaching me how to play. But before the adult responsibilities got too bad. But I will always be grateful to Ben for that and for the support over the years. I'm sure I'll see you soon, mate. Thanks very much. And you said wherever they may be, my partner Emily is in Sevilla city centre right now, probably eating ice cream and having a really good time. But she is incredibly patient, incredibly good with me about playing this ridiculous game that we love so much. And I think sometimes she's doesn't quite understand, but it's like, you know what? You do you, and even to the extent of coming to staff some of the events to see what it's all about. So she gets a bit more now. And Emily, I love you, and I'll see you very, very soon for dinner, hopefully.
That's so sweet, and it's so important to have the strong pillars, your rocks per se. And I'm sure she loves you so much back too. She is right there for you. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead, get yourself an opportunity, have a bit of a break. Thank you so much, Sam, just for your time, for your energy, but also for your very good analytical depth there in terms of the insights. That has been us. Sam is in phase 2, but there's final round coming up, Swiss round number 8. So make sure you get your refreshments, and we'll be back very shortly.
Game number 1. This incineroar, if it even survives this close combat, which of course it will not, because this incineroar does something on this turn. This unopportunity.
This year in Anaheim saw us crown a new world champion, Giovanni Siski. Gio's team was unusual in that he used the exact same team of Koraidon, Lunala, Chi Yu, Fluttermane, Brute Bonnet and Ursa Luna throughout the format. The extended practice with the team gave him consistent results, with a top 32 in Milwaukee and NAIC, a top 8 in Portland, and of course, the world champion. So, let's take a deep dive into Gio's team. There were 2 modes, Sun and Trick Room. Koraidon, Fluttermane and Chi-Yu formed the backbone of Gio's hyper-offensive Sun mode. Chi-Yu's fire attacks were boosted by Koraidon's Sun. Paired with Fluttermane, these two melted their opponents. Pokemon like Incineroar that could withstand the onslaught would get easily picked off by Koraidon. With Protosynthesis on Fluttermane and Choice Scarf on Chi-Yu, the Sun Cord could outspeed and cripple some of the strongest Pokemon in the format, such as Calyrex Shadow Rider and Miraidon. To balance the frail members, Gio also had a bulky Trick Room mode of Lunala, Ursaluna and Brute Bonnet. Lunala could set up Trick Room, and it also had strong offensive presence with a Power Herb Meteor being set. Ursaluna could then take advantage of Trick Room. Its unique ground and normal typing gave it immunity to 2 of the strongest attacks in the format, Astral Barrage and Electro Drift. Lastly, Brute Bonnet gave the team important redirection and sleep support. Unlike its counterpart Amoonguss, Brute Bonnet heavily threatened the most popular restricted Calyrex Shadow Rider. Under the sun, it also got a defense boost, making it even tankier. This mixed composition gave Gio the flexibility against a wide variety of teams. For Day 1 of Worlds, Gio had a strong performance, losing only to Mao Harada on string. This match was extremely close, with Mao making a fantastic read on the final turn of Game 3 to win the set. However, Gio was not deterred, and he went on undefeated for the remainder of Swiss until he faced Mao again in top 8. This time, Gio was ready. He had learned from his loss the day before, and defeated Mao to advance to the semi-finals. Gio's next opponent was another top Japanese player, Hirofumi Kimura. Although Gio's Pokemon missed several moves, he remained calm and won against the 2-time Japanese national champion. And then it was the finals. Gio's team would be facing off against the Koraidon Shadow Rider team, piloted by James Evans. In Game 1, James's Brute Bonnet exerted huge pressure, putting Gio's Chi-Yu to sleep. However, Gio expertly preserved his Fluttermane until the endgame, where it outsped everything and won. In Game 2, Gio started well, but James capitalized on the Koraidon's Life Orb recoil and made defensive switches that forced the Koraidon to take more recoil. Eventually, Gio's Koraidon had 1 more attack left before it would faint to Life Orb, but James had 2 Pokemon left on the field, giving James the win. The stakes could not be higher for the final game. But this time, Gio changed up his playstyle. In Games 1 and 2, Gio had made safe plays. But for the deciding game, he made an aggressive read on turn 2, going for the Stellar Terror on his Fluttermane, which sniped down the opposing Brute Bonnet in 1 hit. With the threat of sleep now gone, Gio brought in his Chi-Yu alongside the Fluttermane. Under the sun and with Beads of Ruin active, these 2 special attackers tore through the remainder of James's team, crowning Gio as the 2025 World Champion.
Hey Pokemon fans, Custody Dimos here with the recap of the 2026 Pokemon Europe International Championships held in London. This year's EUIC was the largest VGC competition to date, with nearly 1,500 Masters trainers. From regional winners to former international and world champions, the road to Sunday was relentless. However, when the lights shone brightest, only 6 trainers remained. In the junior division, Zachary Thomas, the American contender on the rise, faced Hideo Uezu, the Japan Nationals champion and only remaining non-American trainer in Championship Sunday. With 5 identical Pokemon between them, the set was very board position focused. Hideo took Game 1 through stronger positioning of the Raging Bolt, and Game 2 was decided by a perfectly timed Icy Wind that flipped the speed order and closed the match. With this huge win, Hideo Uezu added yet another major title to his growing legacy. In the senior division, we had Charlie Kim versus Leland Smith, both regional champions as well as close friends who were running the exact same 6 Pokemon because one gave the team to the other. In a razor-thin mirror, Charlie managed the margins just enough to claim the senior international title and cement his name into history. In the Masters division, legacy met redemption. Zachary Weed arrived searching for payback after a heartbreaking regionals finals loss in Las Vegas earlier this season. Across from him stood 6-time regional champion and 2023 EUIC champion, Paul Chua. Where Zachary pushed aggression with an Iron Crown Hyper Offense team, Paul brought refined structure with the meta-popular Bolt Balance archetype. Zachary fought with creativity and courage, but Paul's resilience and patience prevailed, thus reclaiming his throne as the King of Balance and now 2-time Europe International Champion. If you want to throw your hat into the ring and join the pursuit of glory, make sure to check out Pokemon.com/compete for more information on how to get involved in play Pokemon events around the world.
Ditto, you cheeky pink blob. And I tell you what else is cheeky. It's Charlie Merriman, Merry by name, Merry by nature, on the desk with Lee. And did you see the poison Pokemon at lunch?
I did not.
He was gulping it down.
I like it.
Thank you. Good. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.
On form, as always.
Well, you're too kind. Lee, listen. We were doing this thing earlier. We were trying to going downstairs convincingly. We're both going to do it.
Charlie's really good at this. Bear in mind that Charlie is very good at this.
I would trade Dacta, sure, but it's not like we covered this at any point in drama school. Use the hashtag play Pokemon, post out who went downstairs the most convincingly. Okay, I'll start us off. Okay, that's my offer.
I feel like that was very good.
Go for it, Lee. Well, you don't know. You didn't see. You can't see from their perspective.
Okay, let's try this.
All
I'm
right.
just gonna go downstairs and get some.
Nice. I'll keep an eye on the
Get
screen.
some water.
Let's see. It's not bad. That's pretty good.
Is it good?
Oh, I think you should be happy with that.
Yeah.
I look forward to watching that back later. But who did it best? Let us know in the chat. And use that to play Pokemon. Who went down the stairs?
Stairs
the
were
most
steep.
Convincingly. Yeah, they tend to be steep. Let's take a look what matches you can choose from that we're going to feature next at the Seville Special Championships, because it is a community choice. If you hop on over to the Twitch stream, you can vote in the chat there as to which match to feature. And as always, we've got a glorious selection for you here. Kicking things off with Ika Rodrigo, our champion from Seville last year, going up against Andreas Moya.
How do you pick? I mean, yeah. Good luck to all of you picking at home, because these are absolutely incredible matches. All of them. We've got some big names here as well. Ika, last year's Seville champion. Got Victor Medina, one of the players to watch this weekend. Victor always on a good streak, especially when they're in their home region. I'm sure Victor feels very confident, and got a very interesting team as well. One that we haven't been able to feature on the broadcast this weekend, going up against Davide there with that Sinister, another Pokemon that we haven't seen too much of in Regulation F.
Hector Sanchez rocking another Tatsugiri Dondozo. We've had a lot of that on stream, actually, so far today.
Yeah, it has been very
Going up against Joseph Russell. We haven't had any Regidrago, and that's a Pokemon that has been fantastic so far in Regulations at F, to the point that we've got the plushie on the desk. And then Gonzalo Estrada with a Trick Room team, with Hatterini, that we rarely get the chance to see. Going up against Lucy Moran with a Roaring Moon as well, harking back to earlier competitions in Regulation Set F. So get on over to the Twitch chat, vote in there which of these incredible matches you want to see.
Yes, do that now and make sure that you lock in with the team, the player that you want to see next. It's going to be, there is no wrong answer here. I love all the teams. I think all the matchups are quite interesting in their own respect. So the dynamics that each one will bring is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and some teams that we haven't actually featured, even though they have been so prominent in Regulations Set F. Let us know, trainers. Who would you pick, Lee? It's tough.
I'm probably going to go for Gonzalo and Lucy. If I was to pick, I really like the look of those two teams. The hard Trick Room from Gonzalo, Lucy's Roaring Moon in the Goldengo. I really like that combination as well.
Yeah.
So I think that could be quite an interesting match in itself, but it's not down to me. So
not down to you.
What about yourself? Who would you be?
Well, it's a really fascinating team matchup, and these are all win and ins trainers, so whoever wins this will stamp their ticket into Phase 2, and whoever does not, unfortunately, will be leaving the competition. If I had to choose, I see what you're saying with the really interesting, unique teams at the bottom there. I would have to go, though, to featuring our Seville champion from last year, Iker Rodrigo, who's at 5-2. Will have to win this next one to progress into Phase 2 tomorrow. Go against Andreas Moya, and, you know, Entei we haven't seen on stream yet today, so I'd be excited to see
No, we haven't. So, yeah, I think a great choice as well. Like I said, I don't think you can really lose with any, but, you know, the Dondozo that Hector's bringing, I think a very interesting team comp there with the Dragonite and no Chen Pao.
Yeah, true.
So that's a little bit different realms we haven't really seen. But yeah, Victor Medina is another one. And very similar to a team comp that I kind of picked coming into this weekend for what I would have brought. So it's always going to be something that I would like to see, but yes.
Could Victor finally claim that first major win this
That'd be magical, wouldn't it?
Oh,
especially
yeah.
in Seville, for them to do it. Been so close so many times before.
Yeah,
getting on the line, but there's so many top trainers here this weekend. It's gonna, you know, it's so hard to really pick one player over another.
But you're right, it would be poetic having Victor go all the way this weekend, because he's, you know, he's finished in the top cut of the World Championships multiple times, and it turns out all he had to do was stay on home turf to win a special championship. It'll be wonderful to see. Shout out to you, Victor. Good luck, and good luck to all of the trainers out there. But let us know in the Twitch chat which of those matches you want to see. You only have a few seconds left to be able to do that, and then we'll let you know which of those matches we'll be bringing to you fine people at home. Alrighty. We got the results.
Results are in.
Let's take a look. What have you chosen? Oh, Victor!
There we go.
Victor Medina going up against David Conessa. Fantastic choice, trainers. A fairy tale matchup that we'll see unfolding right here on the stream.
Yeah. Massive props to everyone that voted, and great choice. It's going to be a brilliant match. It's nice to get Victor on. We've talked Victor up a bit, and David as well. Going to be a great player to be able to feature on the broadcast so early on, because I feel like both of these trainers have the potential to go really deep into this event this weekend.
Yeah, fantastic to see the Sinister team being brought there too. I'd love to see what utility that has in Regulation Set F. Wonderful. Well, thank you for that, trainers. Thank you for getting on over to Twitch and letting us know your opinions. If, Lee, you had to bring one of these 8 teams to the tournament this weekend, which would it be?
Probably the team that Victor's playing.
Okay.
If I'm completely honest. Yeah, I like it. I think it's got a lot of different modes to it. I mean, the primary mode is the Trick Room, but it's quite, like, it's got some options around it with the Fluttermane there, depending on what set you play, how you train it. But yeah, the Cresselia as well is a really nice option with that Levitate ability. It's got the ability to heal partnering Pokemon alongside the Amoonguss as well. So that's probably where I would have went down.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, what about yourself out of those?
I'd be tempted to bring that too. I think I would have gone even harder on the Trick Room and brought Gonzalo's with the Hatterene and Didi. It is just fun using a hard Trick Room team. Yeah, if Trick Room doesn't go up, then that's going to be real tough for you. But it's like a hyper offense team, really, a hard Trick Room team. You can just sweep through incredibly quickly. And, you know, in these long tournament days, it's nice to have some quick wins or indeed quick losses, as long as it's quick, so that you know that you're rested. You can run to the bathroom, grab a snack, grab a drink, etc. It can really make the difference. It's such a mental game as well.
It is something to consider, I think, coming into these events. That your team comp, is it going to be one of those teams that is going to be right down to the wire, down to time every single round, because that will take its toll over the rounds in the day? Or is it going to be that hyper-offensive, burst damage sort of team where you can clean things up, and maybe sometimes it isn't going to go your way, but other times it is, and when it does, it gives you room to rest, to breathe, to recoup, and that is very valuable through these long tournament days.
So a little breaks, and Lee, let's take a little break before we get into our community choice match, because we have more Pokemon anagrams for you. Let us know how you're getting along at home. And let's get in this first Pokemon anagram, a Pokemonogram for you. These are all grass types fitting with the start of spring that we are experiencing here. So then, tell us, Lee, what Pokemon is this? And do give the people at home a chance to guess as well. He's immediately got it, you can tell. He's immediately got it. Triceratops. What grass type is this, Lee?
Well, what could it be? I don't know actually if I have got it, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know if I have got it.
Well, it's a feline Pokemon.
Yeah.
You feline good, he's got it. It's a grass type in Paldea. Do the honors, Lee, what is it?
I actually haven't. No, we need to go through this. We need to take our time with it.
I'm not. Okay.
It's a
grass type, a feline Pokemon introduced in Paldea.
Yeah.
Well, one of the first partner Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, I've basically given you the answer.
You are Sprigatito.
Sprigatito! Congratulations,
there we go.
Lee.
Yay.
Excellent stuff. Sprigatito. But I say this every time, but they are getting harder. I promise you. We will catch Lee out. So let's get another one in for you.
You basically give me that one, though.
Yeah. TC Believer.
TC Believer. Makes me want to break into song, that.
Yeah. TC Believer.
That's a grass type.
Okay, good. At least it's not immediate. My job here.
No. Huh.
I can give you some clues.
Yeah. Give me one clue.
Generation 1.
Ooh. Okay, that kind of narrows it down. I've got it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Still needed a clue.
Yeah, it did need a clue, though. Did need a clue.
For the benefit of people at home, we're talking a grass poison type.
Yes.
Talking a big old fly trap. All right, Lee.
Victory Bell.
Victory Bell, indeed. It's amazing the other words you can make out of Pokemon names. So I've got one more for you.
That was definitely tougher than the earlier ones.
Well, hopefully this one will be even tougher still. This is the final one, number 6. Excellent stuff. Another anagram for you, Torgthorn. You've got it.
Yeah, this one's a lot.
Let's say you haven't.
Okay.
Wow. What is this, Lee?
Torgthorn.
Shall I give you a clue?
Torgthorn, yes, please.
It's Generation 4, but it evolves.
It's from Sinnoh.
From a Generation 1 Pokemon.
Ooh, that definitely narrows it down.
Really narrows it down.
Especially,
It's a grass type.
There might only be one of those.
Yeah, only be one. Especially if you're playing Pokopia trainers, then you might be familiar with
the
character.
Yes, the main character. Well, not the main, but one of the main.
One of the main.
Yeah.
Go on then, Lee.
Tangrowth.
Tangrowth, congratulations. Really impressively, I've got to say, really impressive.
Thank you, Charlie.
Well, I would say,
I love this game. It's great.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you.
Great.
You've got 6 out of 6, but, you know, the 5th one was kind of stumping you a little bit.
It was, yeah. You definitely had to help me along with that one.
It's really impressive Pokemon knowledge. So, how did you do at home?
Yeah.
Let us know with, let's harmonize it, #play Pokemon.
That was good. That was good.
Good.
We're getting better as the weekend's going on.
Should we keep the beats going?
Yeah.
Should we improvise some things?
Go on then.
Who wants to start?
You.
Am I going to improvise and you're going to do a beat?
Oh, you want me to do the beat?
Yeah, and we'll take turns. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
We got Swiss round 8. Which of these trainers is going to be the one sealing their fate? Over to you.
Charlie's good on the mic. He's even better casting. I don't know where I'm going with this. #play Pokemon. There we go.
It's all about styling it out, trainers. Which
really ruined that, didn't I? There we go. But this is why I
so good off camera. You're going to have to believe me when I say that Lee was so good at this off camera. He was. He was spitting these rhymes. They were coming out and
pressure.
out.
It's the pressure of
Yeah,
the fine viewers at home,
we'll work on it. We'll work
crumbled under pressure like I do when I'm playing Pokemon.
No, you don't. No, you don't, my friend. We'll work on those rhymes for you for a future event trainers. Good. Well, a final round of Phase 1 here at the Seville Special Championships. I can't believe it, really. They always go so fast, these rounds. For the trainers out there, too, they'll go quickly, even though they're very long tournament days, and we hope that they're looking after their physical and mental health out there, keeping themselves hydrated, keeping themselves well-fed as well. But yeah, everything's on the line. In this matchup that we'll be bringing you, Victor Medina on stream shortly. If you're just tuning in, everybody, it was the community choice. They voted for it, and they have marvelous taste. Let's see what regulations that F has to offer with this Cresselia composition that Victor has brought.
Yeah, and this is really important at this stage of the tournament because, like you've mentioned, this is the last round of Phase 1. We'll be moving into Phase 2 of the tournament after this stage. So everything to play for our players in this next game. And we can start off before getting into the match by looking at the top 12 usage stats for Phase 1. And it'll be really interesting, Charlie, to see what switches up between Day 1 and Phase 2.
Something I'm especially interested to see is if in Phase 2 tomorrow we've got single strike Urshifu on this graphic alongside the Rapid, because that's something that happened at Houston last weekend. Single strike Urshifu had a phenomenal showing on both of the finalist and winners teams, I believe, and we'll see if Surging Strike Urshifu as well will be dropping down. It's above 50% usage. It's unsurprising, being able to hit through Protect is just absolutely incredible in any format of Pokemon. And I was talking about this with Marcus earlier. I think it's fascinating. We've got the two Genies next to each other there, and we've got the two Ogerpon forms next to each other as well.
Oh yeah. That is interesting, isn't it?
Well, it's interesting, but also I guess it's kind of expected because, of course, they're related to each other because of similar typing.
I think we talked about
flying types there.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, you're probably going to have one or the other. There will be some teams that have both Tornadus and Landorus, but of course, you can only have one Ogerpon form.
Imagine if you could have multiple Ogerpons on one team. That'd be good.
I mean, would it be that good, though? Because you're probably putting too many eggs in that one basket.
Probably, yeah. They all do quite a similar sort of role as well.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see which is going to be the premier grass type coming into these events, though, because I think coming into Seville this weekend in particular, Rillaboom had really fallen off, and at a top kind of level, performance-wise, it hadn't really made the splash it has done in previous tournaments that we've seen in this format and past formats. So to see it come in this weekend and still be very prevalent and doing well when it has been brought on broadcast games is really good to see, and especially the usage stats. A lot of players still believe it is a good enough Pokemon to put onto their teams and bring to these events, and believe in it to perform well. We've seen a lot of Amoonguss, a lot of Hearthflame as well as that Ogerpon, but there's the nice thing about the Ogerpon and the Rillaboom is you can bring both of them on one team because there is different elements those two grass types can provide.
They synergize nicely as well because, of course, Ogerpon gets access to Grassy Glide, so benefiting from Rillaboom's grassy terrain there. It'll be really interesting to see tomorrow where Rillaboom is in the Day 2 usage stats. But enough of the statistics and back to reality. Oops, there goes gravity. But Victor and his opponent are ready on stage. They'll shortly be getting into the game. No plushie metagame, unfortunately, to speak of just yet, but there will be more heading into Phase 2. Victor is looking calm and collected, used to being on stream, of course, and we've got David Canyesa, of course, his opponent there. It must be really difficult for David because Victor has such a name for themselves in the community, and of course it's not a trainer that we featured on stream a whole lot, so getting used to being under the scrutiny of everyone, you watching at home, the people in the venue, and the stage lights, it's something that David has to try and put to one side. And even though Victor's more familiar with that pressure, of course, sometimes it takes you by surprise. Sometimes all of a sudden you're finding it more nerve-wracking than ordinarily you would. We are but human trainers, and of course, whatever you have to bring to Pokemon, we'd love to have your skills being shown. But let's take a look at the achievements of both of these trainers.
Yeah, we could start off with Victor. I mean, what's more to be said about Victor? Just needs that really big championship win, but aside from that, has got consistent results across the board. Frankfurt regional finalist earlier this season, LA finalist as well last season. Then we've got that NAIC top 4 in 2023 and 2 times world's top 4. Just incredible finishes from Victor, showing why they are one of the top trainers in Europe.
a newer player in the form of David. I say newer, but 2016 actually, going all the way back then, that's 10 years ago, depressingly. Barcelona regional top 16 there, and top 32 in Liverpool in 2023. So a trainer who is still looking for that major placement, and could it happen this weekend in Sevilla? I can't wait to see this battle unfold, and I can't wait to get into the team preview. Of course, Victor running this Cresselia team, and David with a Sinister on their side. But let's hold our horses and get into Victor's team first. Incineroar, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Fluttermane, Amoonguss, Cresselia, Ursaluna. Hello, Victor. We see you.
We see you, Victor, and we see the primary kind of goal of this team is going to be leverage the Cresselia. You've got the speed control there with the Icy Wind, if that's suitable, if that's preferable. Or you do have the Trick Room as well that you can set and then get primarily Ursaluna in next to the Cresselia under that Trick Room environment. Activate the Flame Orb, and then you get that Guts boost to really power up those Facades, those Earthquakes, which Cresselia can sit next to quite comfortably, and then just Lunar Blessing, keep it nice and healthy. And you can disrupt as well with Psychic. It can be good into things like Amoonguss. The Safety Goggles plays a huge role there, and then other outlets on the team. You've got that Choice Specs Fluttermane that has that Fairy Terror typing. We've seen how dominant that can be this weekend, and then the Urshifu as well, which is just a kind of nice staple. Firewater Grass Core with the Incineroar and then the Amoonguss.
Got to call out the Perish Song on the Fluttermane here as well. That could just be an auto win for Victor if they're able to get David down to their final 2 Pokemon, and Victor has more than 2 on their side. It means that any Pokemon on the field will go down in 3 turns unless they switch out. So, wonderful to have that tech there. It's going to be an interesting move to see if Victor can weave it in, because of course Fluttermane's holding the Choice Specs, meaning that whatever move you lock into when it's first on the field, you're locked into it until you switch that Fluttermane out and back in. Fascinating composition. I love the Terra Steel on Cresselia. Of course, it's the best defensive typing we have in Pokemon, but with Levitate means you're not taking super effective damage from that ground. But you got to fear the fighting type moves as well as fire. But let's see what David has up their sleeve in order to counter Victor's team. Of course, we've talked about this Sinister, but there is going to be an Urshifu too.
There is, and one of those fire types that would threaten that Cresselia if it does commit to this terrestrialization is that Chi-Yu there that does not only threaten it when it's terrestrialized, but when it's not terrestrialized as well. Those big, powerful Dog Pulses boosted by the Choice Specs. And then you pair that up with the Fluttermane as well. That's a classic combination from Scarlet and Violet era where you've got those two on the field. Special attack as reaping the rewards of Beads of Ruin ability on that Chi-Yu. So something that can really overwhelm Victor if he doesn't respect it enough. And I think there are some nice outlets. You've got the Sinister there. If the Trick Room does go up, if you don't want it on the field, then Sinister is a great Pokemon to bring in. Reverse the Trick Room. You've got nice options to weaken opposing Pokemon. You've got the Strength Sap there. Keep yourself topped up. And then weaken the attack on the opposing Pokemon. So going to be useful against Ursaluna and the Urshifu, and even the Incineroar in particular. And then you've got that double Genie combination there that can overwhelm. The Landorus going to be there with that Life Orb, that Sheer Force, able to get that immediate damage onto the field. There's no needing to set that up, but if you need immediate setup to kind of outpace something like the Fluttermane on Victor's side, then you've got your Tornadus with that Prankster Tailwind, so you can really utilize and leverage that to get some of these powerhouses like your Urshifu, like your Landorus into a position, and that's not even talking about the Chi-Yu and the Fluttermane, some big powerhouses on David's side that Victor needs to be able to contain.
A couple of genies, but can they grant David's wish? It's time to kick off our final round of the day here in Phase 1 of the Seville Special Championships. Victor Medina on the hunt for that first major win, and the same could be said as David too. But in this situation, is Victor is the Goliath, and David is indeed David. Can they take down the Titan that is Victor Medina? Incineroar and Urshifu leading out for Victor, and Chi-Yu and Fluttermane for David.
Well, there's a classic combination of Chi-Yu and Fluttermane, and instantly the Fluttermane putting a lot of pressure onto this Urshifu, and it's going to be able to do a lot of damage to the Incineroar well, boosted by that Beads of Ruin. Now, the Chi-Yu does have the ability to also terrestrialize here to get around that fake-out disruption, go for that Ghost Terror type, and then it gets rid of that water weakness that it's carrying currently from that Urshifu on the opposite side of the field. So a lot for Victor to kind of consider here. Maybe you want to protect your Urshifu and pivot out with your Incineroar here rather than allowing just something to be knocked out for free. Maybe utilizing the knockoff, the U-turn as options here to get rid of some of those really key items. So you can't do that on the Fluttermane because the booster energy has been activated, but you can do it and get rid of that Choice Specs on the Chi-Yu.
Which would be really nice, but it might actually come back to help David if Chi-Yu wants to switch up the move that it goes for on any given turn. Choice Specs, of course, locking it in to whatever move David chooses right now. He's bringing it down to the wire to choose that move. It's going to be the terrestrialization. Let's get things sparkly immediately, trainers. it will be the Chi-Yu, indeed, just as you said, Lee. Going for its Terror Ghost, no longer taking super effective from fighting or indeed water that Urshifu can dish out. But the Incineroar still there, threatening down with Dark-type damage. Urshifu this time is just going to be going for the Detect, though. Neither the Flutter Mane nor Chi-Yu can be faked out this turn around. Not going for the fake out, Incineroar is receiving a Moonblast from that past Paradox Pokemon. There's going to be a dodge on the Heat Wave. No, it's going to be the Protect into the Urshifu, and the Heat Wave will connect onto the Incineroar. And even though it's resisted, look, that Incineroar is down to about half HP, but the knockoff now super effective. Goodbye, Chi-Yu. Goodbye, Terastallization.
Yeah, it's a really nice pickup here from Victor, expecting maybe that the Terastallization could come out. So if it does, let's punish it with a knockoff. Even if it didn't, you get rid of the choice spec, so there's no losing there, and you've done the right things, protecting that Urshifu now. The Beads of Ruin isn't on the field, boosting that Flutter Mane, and we kind of know what it's locked in. Well, we kind of know what it might try and go for this next turn. It's got Moonblast, it's got Icy Wind, and it's unlikely to go for Perish Song this next turn, just because it's so early on in the game. Now the Urshifu comes into the field, it is going to threaten Victor's Incineroar, but do you have something like the Amoonguss in the back? It would be a perfect switch in now and alleviates the pressure on that in Incineroar, and then maybe the Urshifu can go for an attack itself into the opposing Flutter Mane.
Decisions. It is the Amoonguss lurking in the back, and indeed the Flutter Mane. This is information only we have access to, trainers. Of course, David can't see the Pokemon lurking in the back for Victor here. David is still going to take all the time they need, and I don't blame you. This is your tournament life on the line. You have to win this game in order to stay in the Seville Special Championships and progress to Phase 2, which will be starting after this round. So that's Urshifu switching out for Victor. Of course, threatened down heavily by that Flutter Mane. Amoonguss joining the fray instead. Really nice pivot, just as you called out there, Lee, and the Icy Wind super effective on the Amoonguss, but it's not a move that's there to deal damage, it's there to drop the speed, which of course it's going to do on this Incineroar and this Amoonguss here, and every little bit of chip damage will rack up. Close combat though into the Amoonguss, not very effective. It's still really impressive damage there. I was going to say that must have been a critical hit. In return though, the Urshifu is going to drop his defenses and of course have that Focus Sash broken, thanks to the Rocky Helmet that Amoonguss is donning atop its mushroom head, and now Incineroar can switch out with a little bit of chip damage to boot.
Yeah, it's a really nice pivot here from Victor to kind of, you know, take Urshifu out of harm's way almost. A really nice catch with the Amoonguss onto that close combat. So the Amoonguss has taken a bit more damage than probably Victor would have liked here, but the big thing is that Victor's opened the door for the Flutter Mane potentially to come in on the field, and that's going to match up a lot better into the Urshifu now that's had its sash broken on David's side of the field, and it also can pressure the opposing Flutter Mane as well, with maybe a Terastallized Dazzling Gleam that would maybe be very close to picking up a knockout. You've got to worry about things like Icy Wind, but David's numbers are dwindling here. The Icy Wind would put it in a position where you could supersede a speed it with the Urshifu, but the problem is with that Rage Powder active, you need to deal with the Amoonguss before you can really have a free run at the Flutter Mane on Victor's side of the field.
Yeah, of course, Rage Powder redirecting any single target move into the Amoonguss instead. This is how I like to play, Ellie. You just sit there before working out your move rather than locking in case you lock in too soon and you've gone for the wrong thing. I often will bring it down to the wire, and that's exactly what these two trainers are doing. Again, recognizing just how much is on the line here as Urshifu is going for his return. There's no damage heading that way this turn around the Rage Powder. So if this Flutter Mane has gone for another spread move here, then it will be, well, not redirected, it will be the Icy Wind, which is going to be dodged on the Amoonguss. Would have been really nice, super effective damage there, but dropping the speed on the Flutter Mane is really wonderful here as well. It will be that Shadow Ball from Victor's Flutter Mane. Choice specs boosted, super effective into David's Flutter Mane there. That will be enough for KO, and now it's 2 Pokemon remaining for David, all 4 for Victor. This could be an easy Perish Song angle.
Yeah, I mean, the Perish Song set up perfectly now. You can't lock into that at the moment. You have to switch it out and switch it back onto the field. But if you can maneuver yourself around, knowing that the Sinistcha is the last Pokemon for David, you can really lean into that Perish Song as a mode here to close things up. But you know you've got that Shadow Ball that is going to be super effective into the Sinistcha this next turn. There is no Protect there, so it's a pretty safe target, and you can then utilize that Rage Powder one more turn to pull in any of those Surging Strikes that would be otherwise threatening you from the Urshifu and David's side of the field.
Yeah, Flutter Mane doesn't like to stare down an Urshifu, even though it deals such big, super effective damage into Urshifu, because it's not known for its physical defenses, and that's exactly the kind of damage Urshifu can dish out. But with so much mileage that Victor has in the bag, so many options, that's what this game is all about, the resources and getting the most out of them, and that is something Victor has given us a masterclass in so far.
Yeah, and now, you know, I think David, looking back, you can see the utility of terrestrializing early on in this game with that Chiyu, but really now would be the time where you could take advantage of that, as that close combat just nowhere near enough to take down the Amoonguss. It is going to stick around for at least one more turn, but more importantly, protecting that Flutterman this turn to allow that Shadow Ball. You've got to imagine with the Choice Specs item boosting the power of this move, it will be enough to take down this Sinister, and it's exactly that.
Sinister is so tiny, like, just the Shadow Ball heading into thin air there, but I realized, oh no, there is a tiny cup in thin air, and that will be the Sinister going all the way down. Just the Urshifu left now. It's, you know, a very powerful Pokemon, but this is just a hill that will be too steep for it to climb. So it looks like Victor has given us a clinic, and very decisively will be taking us into game 2 with a win.
Yeah, very convincing win here as well, I think. Managing the threat that was presented to them turn 1 in that lead with the Chiyu, the Fluttermane, and managing that situation very well. Not taking, not overextending either, just not taking any risk, protecting the Urshifu, and just going for a pretty safe knockoff into the Chiyu there. There wasn't really much that could have went wrong in that scenario, because there was no chance of the Incineroar getting knocked out there, and then from then on out, Victor just had to kind of tick the boxes for the rest of the match, and you can see the outcome here. So it's everything for David to do going into this next game. Remember, everything is on the line for these players to progress here. They've got 5-2 records they need to preserve. The record, the no more losses to progress into phase 2 of this tournament.
What do you think about the lead that David presented us there with the Fluttermane and Chiyu? Do you think that's the right angle for them to approach game 2?
I mean, I like it a lot because it offers that immediate offense, and it does ask for an immediate response as well, but I don't know if it's the right lead into that Chiyu's not great into the Urshifu if you're expecting that. I think something like the Sinistcha might be better. It's a bit passive in a lot of ways, but then you can look at the Tornadus. I think that offers you immediate speed control. You've got the cover clock there, you're not worried about the Intimidate or the Fake Out, so you can set that up pretty seamlessly. And then you could maybe even lean into your Fluttermane a little bit there, where you say, okay, well, I do have the option to protect this turn, set the Tailwind up, and then next turn I could almost switch in Chiyu for the Tornadus. You've got options there to play around at, or you leave the Tornadus in play and you take advantage of those Bleak Wind Storms and do that super effective damage into the Urshifu. I think you need to start removing or forcing Victor into places that they're a little bit more uncomfortable, because they never were in that game 1, and I think that's what David's going to do. I would totally expect a complete flip up from David going into this next game, and maybe switch up some of those Pokemon choices and approach the game a bit differently. Victor, I don't know, do they need to really switch things up, Charlie?
Well, I mean, there's every argument that no, they don't, because it works so well. And the thing is, Victor has this wiggle room here, knowing that they're a game up, they can afford to lose this one and still take it to a game 3. So we'll be surprised to see exactly the same Pokemon Brawl. It's going to be Incineroar and that Fluttermane for Victor. Urshifu and Tornadus this time for David. So yeah, total switch up on that side.
Yeah, much better, much more comfortable position for David here. I mean, you have to be a little bit careful with the Urshifu here. It is going to be susceptible to that double up with a Fake Out and then Moon Blast or a Dazzling Gleam here, especially from that Choice Specs Fluttermane. But the Tornadus in a pretty comfortable position where it can just set up a Tailwind here. Urshifu can protect, and then the next turn it's going to be in a great spot where it can even then boost that Urshifu even further. Rain Dance, you've got Stellar Terrestrialization that you can go for, and you're going to be able to outspeed that Fluttermane, which is the most important thing.
Oh, but it is going to be a switch up from Victor, actually. We see it lurking in the back and rising on the field now, Cresselia, but can it eclipse the competition that David has brought? Tornadus will just be keeping itself safe this turn. No damage headed that way, just scouting out what Victor's going to be doing. Yeah, no contest. Both Tornadus and Urshifu, but of course, it gave Victor the wiggle room to get the Cresselia in for free, and of course, heading into the next turn, you aren't able to go back protect. So this Cresselia is sitting on the field, begging a question: how will you take me out of contention? Is my Trick Room free?
Well, you do have the, I kind of like as well the fact that it's forced the Fluttermane off the field and you haven't set your Tailwind in front of what is going to be potentially a Trick Room if you can't remove the Cresselia, but you do have the option to terrestrialize with the Urshifu, set the Rain Dance, and hope that the Surging Strikes is going to be enough to take down the Cresselia in the rain. It's going to be the multipliers are there, but is it going to be enough to take it down? It is a big ask, I think, because Cresselia is just that defensively bulky, you know?
Yeah, there's a reason why Cresselia has been, you know, never terrible in any format it's been allowed in ever since the Pokemon was introduced. So bulky and a premier Trick Room setter. Going for the terrestrialization here now, though. Victor Medina, if they win this game, then that is their Phase 2 secured. David has to win this to take it to a Game 3. Best of 3 is how it works, as Incineroar does get that Flower Pot atop its head. Gone for the Terra Grass. Of course, now weaker to the Bleakwind Storm. It's going to be dodged on the Cresselia. Incineroar takes super effective, but of course the Assault Vest paying dividends there too. I mean, the Bleakwind Storm miss, that could mean that Cresselia is just all the safer to set up a Trick Room, all the more so because Urshifu is targeting down the Incineroar instead. It's soaking up all of this damage and it's going to be sticking around on the field. You're just watering the plant there, my friend, as now Cresselia is able to twist the dimensions and get the slower Pokemon moving faster after this U-turn, crucially breaking the Focus Sash on the Urshifu, softening it up for another blow heading into the next turn. Last game and this game, it seems like Victor is just showing us how it's done.
Yeah, and you can see now if the Ursaluna comes in, that Flame Orb will be activated on the same turn, the Trick Room will be set, and Victor will be ready to go, and there's not really much that David can do to kind of counteract that, and you can imagine that David might have been put off going after the Cresselia so hard to prevent that Trick Room because of the threat of maybe an Amoonguss switch in there. You don't want to commit to that slot and then Amoonguss switch in and you take more recoil damage than you're actually committing, and then you've also committed your terrestrialization as well. So you can see maybe the thinking why going after the Incineroar was an easier target, but Victor identifying that so well and then just reaping the rewards from making those decisions in that last turn. And now how do you contain this Ursaluna? It is ready to start firing off attacks. It can go for either of these Pokemon. If Victor gets it right, this could make the game very difficult for David to come and make any sort of comeback in.
Cresselia saying, bear with me as this Ursaluna comes in and the Tornadus wings his way off the field. Sinister is going to come in and at least restore the HP of that Urshifu back up to full, which could be crucial for David heading into this turn. But instead, Urshifu will just be keeping itself safe with this Detect. And now this Ursaluna can wreak havoc. It's a really nice switch, though, from David, of course, because Facade, a normal type move, does nothing into the Ghost that is Sinister. And the Urshifu Protector from the Psychic. So if there's one way to stall out the Trick Room, that's step one.
Yeah, if you had a perfect turn there, that would have been it from David. I think a really great turn. You not only get the Sash back on the Urshifu now with that hospitality ability restoring health, you're now in a position where the Sinister can sit pretty freely in front of this Ursaluna, not worried about it, and it's got the ability to reverse the Trick Room. All you need to do is maybe switch out that Urshifu if you really prioritize it going into this game. But what have you got in the back to switch in to maybe take that sacrifice? Have you got maybe a Flutterman that could come in on a potential Facade? That would be good, but if an Earthquake comes out, it might not be the best case scenario.
And again, Cresselia with that Levitate ability is going to take no damage from Earthquake that normally targets the ally Pokemon as well as the opponents. So yeah, David back against the wall here is bringing the timer down to the wire. Again, they have to win this in order to take us to a Game 3. Going to be the Urshifu switching out. Will it be that Fluttermane coming in, as you identified? Or will it be the Tornadus, of course, immune to the Earthquakes? It will be the Tornadus. So a great play from David here. Going for the Earthquake. No damage on the Cresselia, no damage on the Tornadus, and Sinister resists it. So maybe David is enacting step 2 here in order to come back against Victor. It's still great damage, though. You can see the dividends that the Guts boost pays. Magic Gotcha going to be super effective into Ursaluna. It does a really respectable amount of damage there, actually, for a tiny little teacup of Matcha. And, of course, Magic Gotcha, the other quirk of it, is that it can heal that Sinister right back up. It's all the way back up to full. So David is doing a masterful job here of showing Victor that, listen, I can stall out your Trick Room. I can deny you the advantage you want. The Psychic, again, Cresselia, as bulky as it is not going to be hitting very hard. And so Tornadus takes that really well.
Yeah, there's not really much reason for David to reverse the Trick Room right now because, like you can see from the damage there, the Magigacha actually doing more than was probably expected in this scenario where it's sitting pretty healthy still. The Tornadus can just protect this next turn, it can stall out these Trick Room turns, and now you can go for another Magigacha, chip down that Ursaluna even more. The problem is the Lunar Blessing that we're seeing Victor kind of hovering over now. Do you go for that, then it can heal up that Ursaluna and put it back into a better position, allowing it then the next turn to go after that Tornadus on its potential protect, but no protect coming out from David this turn.
No protect, it's just going to be on the offense, and the Magic Gotcha connecting here with the Cresselia. Every little bit of chip damage will count, as all of the top trainers will recognize. But Lunar Blessing means that Cresselia can be healed up, and it's going to heal the burn on the Earth Lunar too, but it will be reburned at the end of this turn thanks to the Flame Orb Hell item. Really interesting to see Victor lean into the Cresselia node this game, because as David is showing us, they have all sorts of ways to deal with Ursaluna. Facade and Earthquake, all sorts of resists here. The Bleak Windstorm will connect now into the Cresselia, and there is that Flame Orb activation once more. Guts back online.
And now, I think the beauty about, in this last turn of Trick Room, David played this really well, and now they can just protect that Tornadoes, go for a Magic Gacha. Victor's hand's almost forced to go for another Lunar Blessing here, because if you don't, the following turn when the Trick Room expires, they will be in a place where they can get knocked out, and there's a Facade into the Tornadoes, not going for a protect here and just getting knocked out.
Okay, another Magic Gotcha, which, as we saw, deals really respectable damage into the Ursaluna. Look at that, one more of that and it'd be down, but we know, of course, that Cresselia's gone for the Lunar Blessing, channeling the power of the moon, and meaning that Ursaluna, which is also a Moon Bear Pokemon, is going to be benefiting all the more. I wonder what special relationship Ursaluna and Cresselia have since they've been introduced here, both thriving off that lunar energy. So that's Ursaluna being burned once more, but now Victor really wants to be setting up that Trick Room.
Yeah, I think, again, you want it in place, but what a perfect Pokemon to bring in right now to stop that Cresselia setting up that Trick Room potentially with that Chi-Yu. It is threatened from the Ursaluna's attacks, so it has to be wary around that, but you know, it can threaten a knockout into that Cresselia quite easy, especially if we don't see the Terastallization on the Cresselia this next turn. So it's whether or not Victor kind of values that Terastallization now as a way to guarantee that Trick Room setup, because if you can, then you're in a great position going into the next turn. But it's really difficult, because how are you dealing with this Sinistra? Because that is the thorn in your side right now. You need to be able to manage that Pokemon, and something like Incineroar that's in the back is perfect to bring in against it, but it's getting the room to do it. Maybe now you could maybe switch Ursaluna out, bring Incineroar in, or you could switch it for the Cresselia here, protect the Ursaluna.
Alright, well, protect on the Ursaluna is indeed what we see. Can Cresselia take a Dark Pulse from the Chi-Yu with the special defenses being reduced? No, it can't. Bees of Ruin active, and Cresselia, as bulky as it is, that moon has been eclipsed. Alright, so David is getting their foot back into this game as another Magic Gotcha is attempted here. Now Victor, just like David, brought down to just 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, now you've got the option here. Do you bring in the Incineroar? It is pretty low health, or do you bring in this Fluttermane here? This can be the one thing that Victor can utilize to get rid of that Sinistra, but it means locking in to the Shadow Ball if you want to get rid of that in one fell swoop, which is not going to be that effective into the Chi-Yu here. And the Ursaluna taking so much damage so far, you've got to think, well, anything from the Chi-Yu will pick up the knocker there. It's a really tough situation for Victor to find themselves in. And does the Sinistra stick around? Is it going to be switched out? The Urshifu is a potential switch for David in the back. It has got that sash, and it would give you the room to kind of leverage the Chi-Yu in this scenario to get rid of that Ursaluna if it stays on the field, doesn't protect, and get some maybe valuable damage onto the Fluttermane at the same time.
Well, the time is ticking down for David and Victor. If they win this, will claim a Swiss round 8. What switches will be made as David once more? He's got 6 seconds left on the clock to lock in their move. How can David come back here? Already piloting through Victor's turns of Trick Room so masterfully as Ursaluna returns to hibernation, and joining Fluttermane on the field, the Incineroar, the Fake Out active. The Intimidate, of course, in this situation is not too important heading into the next turn. Already a Terra Grass, a Heat Wave here will go a long way. It's now time for David to respond with their Terastallization.
Here we go, where will it be into? And it is into the Sinistra. It's been doing so well in this match so far. Wants to remove that weakness to the Shadow Ball. So if that is what Victor is locked into, it's no longer going to take super effective damage. It will be able to hang around a little bit longer, but it's the Dazzling Gleam, Charlie.
Okay, Dazzling Gleam, it brings them both down to about a third, and now the Dark Pulse that, of course, is locked into the critical hit will be the one-hit KO. That's Fluttermane down, so it could well be a third game between these two incredible trainers. Ursaluna, of course, would be thriving under slower speed conditions. The Incineroar, just a bit of chip, of course, resisting that, a grass-type Pokemon. It means that the Incineroar can also be burnt here, but there's no burn to speak of in the air with the health bars are dwindling. It looks like David's been able to pilot through. You asked me, Lee, heading into this game, whether Victor should make any adaptations, and he did, but I wonder if he'd actually have been better off just sticking with what worked for him in Game 1.
I think so. In hindsight, it would have definitely probably given him a better opportunity to kind of combat what David has adjusted to. The Sinister adjustment, expecting maybe the Trick Room mode here, is just such a great call here, and yeah, it looks like it will be going to a game 3, especially with that Urshifu lurking in the back. Magic Atcha coming out, enough to take down that Ursaluna.
I really like the synergy though, because of course you've got Terra Grass and the Incineroar, that means the Earthquake that Ursaluna goes for alongside it. You're mitigating the damage there. Of course, Incineroar is really, really low on HP, and Ursaluna is going down here anyway. So incredible, we love to see it. Here in Seville, we've got 2 Spanish trainers going up against each other. Is the winning in, and we're going to a game 3 in the final Swiss round of Phase 1.
This is what we love to see, going right down to the wire. Both trainers giving it their all, not one to give up, and continue on in this tournament. All to do, I think, a real contrast between Game 1 and Game 2. I think Victor really convincing in Game 1, really dominant, made those switch-ups, but I think we've got to give a lot of credit to David for the switch-ups that they made going in, the adjustments into that Sinister in particular, and the Tornadus, which was a pretty key piece of being able to pressure Victor, force that Fluttermane off the field so it wasn't there just throwing damage out like Victor would have kind of preferred it to be, because of that initial tailwind, surging strikes pressure, but not committing to it was pretty brave as well from David.
Yeah, and there are a couple of turns there where David just rendered 2 of the turns of Victor's Trick Room just totally useless there. We protect and switches and resist, so really well played. So now obviously the massive question mark here, Lee, is Victor just going to go back to the 4 Pokemon that worked in Game 1? Because that's pretty telegraphed for David, so then do you try and get a step ahead and anticipate how David would adapt to that, and therefore how you could counter that lead?
I would say so. I think it's something that you would revert back to automatically. I think it's hard to say what Victor's going to do, because I think Victor performed best when their back's against the wall in this sort of scenario, and I think so where Victor really flourishes on the battlefield. I think you would always immediately go back to what worked, because, yeah, you had an easy time with that. You had the control of the game. You weren't relying on really setting too much up, because you just had the automatic speed advantage, and you kind of waited out situations where you could get your Fluttermane and pick big knockouts out when you needed to. You dealt with the Chi-Yu really well, but the Ursaluna felt a little bit clunky there for Victor to really get going. That's just because David managed it so well, so I wouldn't go back to that this Game 3.
Well, let's see what Victor's been thinking. This is going to be Tornadus and Chi-Yu. It's going to be Incineroar and Urshifu coming out this time for Victor.
Yeah, I like the Incineroar inclusion here, because immediately you've got that option straight away where you can go for that knockoff into the Chi-Yu, and like we've mentioned before, there is really no downside to that. You either catch a Terrestrialization because it's trying to get out of the weakness that it's got to Surging Strikes, or you get rid of that Choice Specs item, and Incineroar right now is not threatened. And if you're really worried about the Urshifu taking any damage, you've got the option just to protect this turn, see what your opponent does. Tornadus likely going to go for maybe a Bleak Wind Storm. It's boosted by the Beads of Runes, so if you're suspecting that, you could go for that. But if you think the Urshifu is going to be left alone, you could attack into one of these targets and pick up a really key knockout.
Very interesting here. It looked like Victor was considering the Terrestrialization on that Urshifu, which would, of course, make it weaker to the Fire-type moves, but David is so disincentivized for going for that in the face of Incineroar, and as it stands, a Water-type Urshifu. Chi-Yu is going for his Terrestrialization once more. It will be that Terragosa knockoff. He's now super effective. As you said, very safe knockoff into that slot. Is that the play Victor made, and if so, is it something that David can come back from? The responding Terrestrialization as well. The gloves are off here in Game 3 of Swiss Round 8 of the Sevilla Special Championships. We are just using that mechanic, ripping the gimmick immediately. Here comes the Terra Steel Urshifu. But what did David lock into? It was the fake out this time into the Chi-Yu. Of course, it's Terrestrialized away from that. Being a ghost type now, overheat into the Incineroar. It was going for massive damage there. Of course, in that previous turn, we did see the Terra Grass. Incineroar would have been super effective, but no, just chipping away here. Bleak Wind Storm and getting the speed drop onto the Incineroar. Crucially, though, not onto the Urshifu. Here comes the Surging Strikes. There's no Rocky Helmet, it's just a Covert Cloak. That Tornadus is going to be close. It looks like it might just get the KO. Yeah, there it is. Tornadus is down.
Yeah, when we saw that steel Terrestrialization on the Urshifu and then the overheat, I thought, as David called it, no, into that slot on the Urshifu. Thankfully for Victor, really nice Terrestrialization to get around the Bleak Wind Storm damage there, so you're able to sit way more comfortable now. But because of the inclusion of the Urshifu, both of your Pokemon are now heavily threatened. Yes, you threatened the Chi-Yu on the opposite side of the field, but, you know, have you got the ability with the Incineroar to get that knockoff off like you need to now. No, you haven't, because there's the surging strike threat in front of you. And not only that, you can't ignore the threat of close combat into your own Urshifu or Victor. So you've got to make some adjustments. Have you got the Pokemon in the back to make those adjustments right now? I don't know if you have. David feels a bit more in a more comfortable position to start getting knockouts in return.
That's something only Victor knows thus far, what the Pokemon are in the back. It'll be fascinating to see how this nail-biting Game 3 unfolds. The Detect coming out on the Urshifu doesn't want to take another overheat. That Chi, of course, locked into that with the Choice Specs. And, of course, it's had its special attack dropped by 2 stages. So, just whittling away here on Victor's end. There's that close combat super effective into the Incineroar. Yes, that will be the Incineroar down and out. As Urshifu softens itself up, of course, it's got Focus Sash, so it has more wiggle room to be able to do that. Now, Victor can sense something in from the back. What do they have that might be able to counter this? We've got Amoonguss and Fluttermane, so going back to what worked in that first game, but this time can Victor pilot it to success again?
Well, the Amoonguss coming in here is great, but you've got to really make sure that you get rid of that Chi-Yu before it is able to attack, because if it does hang around at all and get one of those overheats off, then Amoonguss cannot terastallize and will go down to that inevitably. But you do have a good Pokemon next to the Amoonguss if you do decide to go that way. I would think that the Fluttermane feels a better option here, where you can probably Dazzling Gleam, pick up the Chi-Yu, depending on the damage that it's done, but you will get that Urshifu down to its Sash there, and then maybe with an Aqua Jet combination, you could potentially get rid of that threat before anything else, but deciding, keep that for later, go for that Amoonguss. Of course, it makes more sense. The Chi-Yu has taken no damage so far, so getting rid of it in one hit would commit to that Shadow Ball, which might overcompensate you in this situation.
Yeah, the margins are so fine here, and if Victor loses this, that's their tournament run over on home turf as well, whereas David, another Spanish player, would be sealing their spot in Phase 2 and could then go all the way. Both these trainers taking their time to lock into their moves, and of course, this is what it all comes down to. So will it be Victor or will it be David claiming Swiss round 8 here at the Seville Special Championships? Amoonguss protecting it, even though it's in the face of this Urshifu here, but of course wouldn't be taking much damage from Urshifu anyway with the Unseen Fist. Overheat, is this going to be enough for the KO onto the Urshifu? Yes, it is, but now the Chi-Yu is down to -4 in its special attack. It can't go much lower than that, but there is still one drop that it can receive. That's Urshifu down. It's just going to be Amoonguss next to the Fluttermane. And so Urshifu will be redirected now into the Amoonguss, which is really nice because you're breaking that Focus Sash with the close combat, of course, and another defense drop thanks to the close combat here. Fluttermane lurking in the back. We know that Urshifu will be no issue for it, and then it comes down to what that final Pokemon is for David.
Yeah, and this isn't a terrible scenario. The Chi-Yu at -4 isn't hitting as hard, and the Fluttermane can lock into the Shadow Ball. It can pick up a knockout or do some significant damage to anything that maybe switches in for that Chi-Yu. The Urshifu as well is pretty... It's not in the greatest of spots, right? Because it can only lock into Surging Strikes close combat here, both of which are going to be redirected into the Amoonguss, and that Rocky Helmet is going to constantly chip you down and make it so you can't hit the Fluttermane. That's in a pretty safe spot right now for Victor, so not all over, but David doing all the right things up to this point. They've got to make sure that they try and do the next step to close out this end game and maybe try and progress in this tournament.
Yeah, the fact that Victor doesn't know what that fourth Pokemon is so crucial, because what mood you lock into with Fluttermane is carrying the Choice Specs or whatever you choose here. That's what it has until the end of the game, because Victor's down to just their final 2 Pokemon. No switching available. Amoonguss, the center of attention, it loves that spotlight. The Shadow Ball is going to be super effective, of course, into the Chi-Yu. Now it's Terra Ghosted, and there's no Focus Sash. That's what's on the Urshifu. So what is this final Pokemon for David? The Tornadus is down and out. How will Fluttermane and Amoonguss be matching up into it? It's 2 Pokemon you love to see next to each other. Amoonguss redirecting moves away from that Fluttermane. It's going to be the Sinistcha. So the Shadow Ball was the perfect choice of move there to lock into.
Yeah, and now this does... Still not, it's going to be very close, right? I think the Urshifu now in a position where it probably will go down this next turn, because it's going to have to lock into an attack. I mean, you can go for a double protect here if you want the room to avoid that Rocky Helmet damage, because whatever you lock into attack-wise, it's going to be redirected into the Amoonguss. You're going to take that chip. Shadow Ball will be enough with that close combat drop that you've already taken earlier in this game, so that will be removed, and then everything relies, it comes down to that Sinistcha.
There's that Shadow Ball. This cup of tea is going to be emptied here, or can it hang on? No, with that choice bets, of course, just really bolstering the damage. The one-hit KO. Sinister, that teacup is going to need washing up. Now another close combat here into the Amoongus, and you can just see how well it's soaking it up, and it looks like Victor has been able to do this and secure their ticket through into phase 2. Wow, what a thrilling match.
Yeah, and it's all about that terastallization. If the Sinister had the ability there to terastallize, it might have been a different game, but not the case. Victor Medina is our winner in Swiss Round 8.
You can see how much it means to Victor. He is so hungry for that first major win, having had such incredible results to their name. Really bringing it down to the wire, going to a game 3. And Victor's clearly really feeling themselves there. But as ever, Victor's so gracious to their opponent, and their opponent just as gracious as well. And now they get to decompress about the match that they just watched unfold, and indeed were instrumental in having it unfold. And that's what this community is all about, just being able to learn from the player that you've just faced.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a lot that I think both players can take away from that game. I think Victor was very, very composed throughout that game, even though it looked like it wasn't going their way at all, but really had, I think, an end game in mind where knowing that terastallization, once it had been spent on the Chi-Yu, that the Sinister, if that was the Pokemon in the back that David was kind of keeping, it meant that locking into that Shadow Ball was the right choice. And then the Amoongus with that Rage Power just took away the threat from the Urshifu so perfectly. You just needed to deal with that Chi-Yu, which the Fluttermane was able to do because of that terastallization. It was the double-edged sword. In one respect, it was a really good terastallization, but in another, it really was the downfall of David's game plan, and Victor capitalizing on that like we know Victor can do.
It's not very often that we see a trainer that won game 1, changing it up in game 2, but that's exactly what Victor did, bringing the Cresselia and Ursaluna combination there, and it's something that David was able to navigate through so well. This was exactly what that was. David was able to stall out those turns of Trick Room so masterfully, taking us to a game 3 where Victor reverted to what worked in that very first game. Even though that might seem telegraphed to the opponent, sometimes, even if you know it's coming, there's not much you can do about it, but David certainly had options up their sleeve. Victor really wincing in the face of what was an unfortunate KO there, and this Sinister in game 2 for me was the MVP. It was dealing so much damage to the Ursaluna, which was, of course, Victor's main damage dealer in game 2.
Yeah, that Sinister was just... It was really, really good, really surprising, and why it has carried David to this point in the tournament with a record, just unfortunately not quite enough to get them any further, and give Victor a lot of issues game 2. Just wasn't able to capitalize, even though they got the Trick Room set up quite perfectly, got the Ursaluna in, and that ideal situation where its Flame Orb was activated and you had maximum turns of Trick Room to go. Sinister just came in and said, nope, not today.
Absolutely not. How'd you like your tea? Hot? Well, it's coming right your way. Know what I mean? Ursaluna wasn't appreciating the sips of tea that it had. Wow. Well, really cool, though, to see a Sinister team being brought and piloted so well by David. So, being at a 5-2 record before that game, that means now that they're at 5-3, and unfortunately won't have made it into phase 2. But huge congratulations to Victor, and I hope that David is feeling really proud of how they played today, because 5-3 in a tournament that's really big out there, so many trainers have come to Seville this weekend, is no mean feat, and the stats competition out there as well, the names that we have, phenomenal.
Yeah, it is a remarkable achievement. I know it probably will sting, and it's just a learning experience. But like you say rightly, I think when you look at the field and the players that you went up against and have to compete against at this event, to have that record, a really good positive record, it's got to be a positive to take away from it and then bring to that next one, and then take those lessons, learn and improve and keep going, and those championship wins will come.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And David has been around for a little while and still going for that first major win, we believe. And the longer you stick around, the more likely it is to happen. But of course, as well, it is all about those friends we make along the way. So, that's phase 1. Done.
Done and dusted.
Unbelievable.
Went by very quickly.
It really did.
But we've had some phenomenal games.
Yeah, we have.
What has stuck out to you is the one that put you on the spot?
No. Don't apologize.
Anything that has really been, wow, didn't expect that coming into this.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, time flies when you're having fun. I'm certainly having fun with you, my friend, as I always do. But, I mean, the first call-out has to go to Great Tusk, of course, which we featured on stream twice. And if you're tuning in just now and thinking, What on earth are you talking about? Great task in Regulations AF? Yes, go back and watch some previous rounds from today, because this is one of the new adaptations. And we saw a Great Task team winning earlier on stream. We featured it again later on. Yeah, adds faith in the photosynthesis, and of course the ground type so nice into your Raging Bolt. That is something I'm really excited about. It's such a cool Paradox Pokemon.
It really, that iteration, that team comp is really strong, and it's very good into that kind of balance call. But I think the second time around, there are ways around it. There are ways to approach it. Whether or not it can kind of overcome those issues going forward in the tournament, I hope we get to see more of it, because I think a great innovation coming into the latter end of this format. But I believe the Victor is ready in an interview, so we'll throw it over and hear a little bit more of an insight from Victor Medina.
Thank you very much, and what a match to finish phase 1 of the tournament. Of course, we still have one more round of phase 2 today, but I'm now joined here by our winner, Victor Medina. Whew, how are you feeling after that set?
Very nervous, honestly. It was a very intense set. It was nerve-wracking, honestly, but I'm feeling good. I did day 2, so that's a good thing. Now I have to play one more round today.
Absolutely, yeah. Congratulations on making it to the second phase. I feel like this matchup, and very fittingly, Charlie was describing it, I think, as a David versus Goliath in a little bit. You're, of course, a very experienced player with a lot of achievements, but David also played really well with his adaptions especially. So how did you feel going through the different games with the modes that you chose, bringing the Cresselia Ursaluna game to, and how he adapted to that?
Yes, personally, I was feeling kind of nervous. Chiyu was one of the mons that I really was afraid of a little bit in this tournament, because I'm bringing a team that struggles a little bit into it with Cresselia and everything. So I was a bit scared. My thinking was like, in game 1, because my Sinistcha did so little, if I play like Insane, Amoonguss, and Flatterming, those are 3 very, very good mons against Sinistcha. Maybe he is going to not bring Sinistcha to counter this game plan. He did bring Sinistcha in the game 2, so that was not as expected. But at the end of the day, because he brought it in game 2, I was like very sure he was going to bring it in game 3. And in game 3, even in game 1, it was really guess the Chiyu. Is Chiyu going to Terra? Is Chiyu not going to Terra? It was really, really nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and then both in the games that you won, in the first game, it went for Terra Ghost, you went for the knockoff, and then in the third game, it had Terra Ghosted along the way, and then you could get the KO with a Shadow Ball.
Yes.
So how were you feeling about that game 3 in particular? You were playing towards this end game then with Amoonguss next to Fluttermane, but how sure were you that that was going to be enough to take the game?
Honestly, I was not that sure, and I think I misplayed a little bit in the end game of the game 3, because I was like trying to think like if he has Sinistcha for sure, but at the end I could position myself with like Amoonguss Flutter and just win the game, because I was like pretty sure, because of how he played and because he brought Urshifu and not like Lando, for example, that he had that Sinistcha in the back.
Yeah, and that worked, of course. Then the Fluttermane just needed a Rage Powder Shadow Ball, Ball, and the game was over. About that, by the way, just, yeah, bit of a random question, but we see you on the stream quite often, and when seeing the game from your point of view, I noticed you very often, you hover over a move, you click something in, and then you're like, okay, taking this step back. But then very often in the end, you still lock the same move that you thought initially. So is this just your pattern? Think very quickly, which move do you feel like is the right move, and then you think about it?
I like do my whole thinking process with like in the whole game. The first thing I click with the first mon is like what I'm thinking to do at first, and then it's probably like, okay, maybe it's not that, and then every single move that I make after that is like me thinking, is this the correct move? I should do this, maybe he switches, etc. So it's really just my way of thinking. It doesn't really mean anything. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, you do this. No reason, honestly. But yeah, it does help me to choose the correct play.
All right, and well, you chose a lot of correct plays, of course, now, so you will move on into phase 2. Finally, is there anything you want to say to your Spanish fans who are watching, or any other shoutouts you might have?
For sure, for sure. First of all, shout out to Clippers and well, shout out to Clippers like for the help with the team. Shout out to Antonio, Miguel, and Sufi for always being there and being together in Malaga. Shout out to my esports team, Giants, of course. Thank you for the family that we created. We played a lot of Giants members played today, and it was such a good experience. Thank you to all the Giant X family. Thank you for the co-stream. Thank you, Carlengues. Thank you, Coffin. And yeah, quite a bit of shout-outs.
Big community over here in Spain. One of the friends you mentioned, Antonio Sanchez, right now at a 7-1 record as well. So also we will maybe see him in phase 2. But yeah, that's it from phase 1. But do not go anywhere because we are starting with phase 2 right away. So there's going to be one more match and you really don't want to miss it. So don't go anywhere as we kick it to a very short break.
Really, Boom, Woodhammer, Mills, here comes the king!
absolutely surreal. It's gonna take a while to settle in, of course. Me siento muy emocionado y alegre. The feeling is yet to sink in. I'm still a bit in shock. It feels so surreal to me. It's my first year seniors and I won the World Championships undefeated. I feel very excited.
Feeling amazing. I'm feeling on top of the world.
Absolutely unreal.
I'm here with an absolute veteran of the Pokemon scene. It is Ross Gilbert, trading card game caster. How are you doing, Ross?
I'm doing very well. I was around when Pokemon first launched, so for me, 30th anniversary is 30 years of me as a Pokemon
It's
fan.
true. I mean, I was there as well, but I think you're around a little bit before. No judgment at all. But you might think you know Pokemon, Ross, but what about with the vowels removed? Let's play some vowelless Pokemon. I have on my card here, and you'll see on screen, some letters that indicate Pokemon names, but we've taken all of the vowels out. Ross, and you at home, you have to work out what the Pokemon is. It'll make much more sense in a moment. You feeling good?
No, because I feel like you've only chosen ones that are going to stump me.
I don't know about that, Ross. They'll get harder. There's definitely a difficulty curve here.
I feel like is not one you're choosing.
That's not a Pokemon, so I absolutely won't be choosing. Oh, I see. Okay, nice. Well, they got me there. These are all grass types. That's your clue, okay? They're all grass types. Let's have number one. This one. BLLSSM. What Pokemon is that?
Blossom.
Very good, Ross. Very good. All cylinders firing right now. But make sure to give it some thought as well. Also give the people at home some time to work it out. But that's your sort of pilot one. You ready for number two?
I'll take it slower this time.
TNGL. What's that Pokemon?
Oh, I have no idea what this one could be. I'm getting some strong Erica vibes here.
Erica vibes.
I feel like there might have been a recent blister in the TCG.
Oh, yeah?
That had this Pokemon in. I feel like it can help me search for Erica's Pokemon.
I mean, as VGC players, we have no idea what you just said, but maybe. Go on then, Ross. Take it away. What is it?
It is, of course, Tangela.
Tangela. Very nice. Congratulations, Ross. Clearly, not just a pretty face. Now, let's have number three. MNGSS.
Oh. Now this one I don't know straight off the top.
Yeah, you can tell on his face that he had to learn this one out.
Yeah, first time I looked and I'm like, boom, got this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, would you like a clue?
I'm keeping it Metagross, but Metagross doesn't have an N in it, and also is not a grass type
Definitely
Pokemon.
not. It's not Terra Grass Metagross either. So this Pokemon is a clue. Introduced to Generation 5.
Okay.
It's a grass and poison type.
Oh, Gen 5 is my jam as well.
It's very prominent in VGC.
That doesn't help me very much. I'm not very prominent in VGC.
A mushroom Pokemon.
Oh, a Moongus.
A Moongus, congratulations, Ross. Okay, here we go. So we're wrapping it up. We've only got one more for you.
Okay.
Here we go. GRPN.
Well, I do feel like 75% would be kind of like an A grade here.
Yeah,
I feel like 3 out of 4 is kind of it.
You've secured the A, but can we make it an A star?
Well, I feel like we probably can. You see, this one, I'm getting strong TCG vibes from this.
Okay.
I'm feeling
Also
like
VGC.
This might be a Pokemon that there is a strong argument for this one being the best Pokemon EX we've had since Pokemon EX came back in Scarlet and Violet base. That's how good it is. It's going to look really silly if I'm wrong here now.
Yeah. Okay, go on, tell us.
I believe we're talking about Ogerpon.
The hero from Kitakami, of course it is Ogerpon. Ross, 4 out of 4. A star, my friend. 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Why is it 3 out of 4?
You had to give me too many clues for a moon because I'm not counting
Wow,
that.
he's a harsh critic. How did you do at home? Let us know with #PlayPokemon Trainers, and we'll get back to the action very shortly.
Hello and welcome to the Pokemon Center pop-up here in Honolulu, Hawaii at Pokemon World 2024. We're here with some champions who are going to show us what it's like to shop with a pro, right, Spraggles?
That's right. This is the best place to be here at the Pokemon World Championships.
And who are you standing here with?
An international champion, Polaris.
And I am here with international champion Avery. And what is it like to compete in a Pokemon championship?
Well, kind of stressful. If you're doing a battle, that's determines if you win or not.
How do you feel about competing this year?
It's pretty fun.
Are you gonna win, do you think?
I hope so.
What are your favorite things to shop for? Plushies.
I mostly like the big ones.
How do you feel coming here to compete in Hawaii?
A little
a little nervous because I don't know to play yet.
You're a champion. You can make it happen. I love that I've gotten to meet you before, actually, at a Pokemon Center. I've met your family before. What's your favorite part about traveling to compete with all of these Pokemon events?
It's really fun to play Pokemon. I love the game.
And what's the best part about bringing your family to all this stuff?
My dad, mom, and Cyrus, they just come and they watch. They like cheer me, and it's really fun.
Do you think Cyrus will one day be a champion like you?
Probably. I really hope so.
What's your favorite thing about coming to the Pokemon Center?
Definitely big plushies.
What's the #1 thing you're looking for in there?
A big Slowpoke.
A big Slowpoke. You heard it here first, folks. A big Slowpoke.
You told me that you like to look at giant plushies. And I couldn't find a giant plushie, but I found something really big for you. Are you ready? This Pokemon can turn into any Pokemon. What do you think? Right, there you go. That's for you.
You said you wanted a big plushie. I found you something even bigger. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's big, right? What do you think?
I think it's amazing.
All right, well, you're taking it home, buddy.
All right, let's go.
Here we go. Told you it was huge, right? Pretty big. Watch it. Watch it 10. Watch it 10.
I think the toughest thing will be getting in your carry-on, but once it's on the plane, like, you're good to go.
Well, welcome back, trainers. Myself, Lee, and joined by the lovely Costa de Idamos.
Hello.
And we'll be here to guide you through Phase 2 of this tournament. We'll be getting Swiss Round 9 very shortly, and I cannot wait. How has Phase 1 of the tournament been overall for you? Was there any standout moments, Costa?
I mean, it's been incredible, really. Given the fact that this is the final Regulation Set F major event, people all over this venue have been putting out all the stops, like even off of the broadcast in of itself, because I've had a couple of chats with some of the trainers and they've been talking about some pretty crazy Pokemon and techniques, but we have seen one of those come to the fore, that being Great Tusk. It's been a bit of all the rave, even though I think it's won set of a stream match set today and then lost another, if I'm not mistaken.
Against the same
comp, right?
Team,
yeah.
So 1 for 1.
1 for 1, but it definitely feels like one of those Pokemon that have been a bit underexplored in this current format, but we shall see how it unfolds. How about yourself? Favorite moment?
I would have said the Great Tusk as well, just to be in line with you, but it has been the big standout, I think, so far today. I think it wasn't something I was really expecting to see at all coming into
Clear Amulet.
Yeah, the Clear Amulet, and it really does make it difficult for those balanced teams to function as they would like to. So really great choice. I'm sad we haven't seen any of your Drift Blim shenanigans. I heard
saw
you
it on the
Marcus
graphic
earlier.
Did you see it on the graphic? Gilberto Dorachi
I didn't
brought
see. No,
a variant of it with Drift Blim.
This weekend.
Yes. Yeah, I saw on the graphic, but I haven't checked in to see how he's doing. But, you know, there's a bit of representation there. It's the right amount of toxic.
I like Drift Blim. Fun memories. And all the days playing Drift Blim with that.
Back in day.
Sack Exceed.
Oh, my God, I know. It's just, like, so great. You know, back when we had, like, Tapu Leles and stuff like that. That was quite dominant. I think Aaron did a really good job as well. He picked up a title or two with the Mega Metagross. But as a whole different format, whole different year, we are here to celebrate the final one of Reg F. And our trainers are right now getting essentially everything prepared because, like you mentioned, Lee, we're entering Phase 2. This is the point where we're going to have to try to put out all the stops if we're going to want to be able to progress and do the very best that we can. This final opportunity, it is quite grueling. There's a lot of rounds. However, our trainers are well acclimatized in terms of battling the fatigue as well as their opponents and all sorts of matchups.
That's a huge part of it because this will be the last game of today because everything will continue tomorrow in phase 2. And it's a long period of time, you know, to come in this end stage. And it's not make or break this next round, but it really counts because if you've got those undefeated records, you want to carry that forward as far as you can to guarantee yourself a place in that top cut when the chance comes round.
Yeah, and talking about undefeated records, we have got 2 trainers that still have not lost a set. It is Anthony and Pablo. And what a way to be able to go about it. We're talking about fatigue and whatnot, but clearly these 2 trainers, they've got a pretty good resistance to it, being able to just go 8-0 going into phase 2.
It's incredible, really, especially when you look at the field and the players that are here. And the fact as well that we're at the end of a format where everyone is very well established within this format. And you know, there is not an easy game when you're sitting down. Whoever you're in front of, it's going to be tough because everyone's played this format for such a long period of time.
Yep.
It does make it difficult. So to have those undefeated records at the end of phase 1 is just incredible.
Which kind of begs the question of, what did their run kind of look like? And thankfully, we've got lovely production being able to provide that run, at least for one of our first 2 undefeated trainers, Anthony Christopher Manolesh. And what a way to go about it, you know, a lot of greens. I think that's an indication of some really good stuff.
Green for goal, and they are going right to the top if they continue like this. And really interesting that they're bringing that balanced team and having such success with it. You know, it is continuing to do well here in Europe. It's not easy opponents either on the run in here. You can see some of the team comps as well that they've had to come across. And there's even a Smeagol in there.
Yeah, there is. Oh, it's so good. But no, it's sort of the Pokemon where it just adds so much utility and really changes the game completely. But Raul Campoya wasn't able to go ahead and get the win up against what has been an absolute onslaught that Anthony Christopher has been able to unleash. And that is the same 6 that Marcus did mention he would bring as well. We saw Paul Chua do an incredible job picking up the EYC title, and a couple of notable names, no doubt about it. We've seen Yoel Ramirez actually a couple of times over the past couple of seasons, most notably really into being a big presence in the Spanish community.
Yeah, tough round 1.
Yeah, tough round 1, but it just keeps on improving every single event. But then ending up with Javier, exactly. Like, I mean, what is that? If I'm not mistaken, that's all Spanish matchup, right?
Yeah,
like all 8 opponents. In Spain.
Yeah, you've had to really go through each one, different boss each time to get through to phase 2. Difficult rounds, and I really do want to emphasize that there are so many different comps here throughout each round that you know, Anthony's had to overcome. And it's not just been the same sorts of teams, there's been variations in those similar ones as well throughout. So really showing their ability and comfortability with the team to take it this far, so far.
Oh, truly. You need to have that level of flexibility, but most importantly, like you said, the comfortability. You want to feel confident with the plays that you make. And when you have the sort of 6 that we've highlighted multiple times already, it allows you a bit more of a saving grace in terms of space when it comes to if you sort of like misplay one turn or something like that, it's not necessarily over and you're able to sort of have a bit more sustainability with all the different beautiful synergy pairings you've got, fire, water, grass, fake out, you name it. But Anthony Christopher is not our only undefeated trainer. We have also got Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, Pablo, one of those other trainers that has managed to come through this event undefeated, not facing Spanish players throughout every round, but has had a bit of a mixture, especially towards the end of the day, but running another interesting comp here with that Psychic Spam team with the Indeedee, the Iron Crown, and then partnering Pokemon. You've got those mods with the Tornadus, the Urshifu, and then the Ogerpon and Fluttermane as well.
Yeah, and actually, these 6, if I'm not mistaken, they're the same as Ethan Trejo's in terms of having the Fluttermane available. It allows you a bit more of a burst damage potential mode if you need to be able to bring it. And obviously, Fluttermane, one of the most popular Pokemon of all time at this point, not only just Scarlet and Violet, being able to just have that initially available dependent on the matchup. And obviously, Calm Mind, Iron Crown. So if this is like Ethan's, it's most likely going to be a Terra Psychic with a booster energy in speed. So I'm curious to see if Pablo's decided to bring that, or maybe a variation with a modest or special attack.
Yeah, and the Flutterman as well, it gives you a better matchup against those Raging Bolts as well, that, you know, can be a bit of a hang-up with that team in particular. So you've got that, like you say, the burst damage there with the potential Fairy Terror, but you also have a way to immediately pressure the Raging Bolt, so it's not in that position where it can just freely set up those Calm Mines. The interesting thing about Pablo's run is that they haven't faced this balanced team, the exact six.
The exact six, yeah.
Throughout
I did know
all 8
that.
rounds, so this will be the first time that they'll be going up against it.
Yeah.
This round.
And they did go up against a variety of compositions as well. I think I spotted another Entei, if I'm not mistaken.
Corviknight.
There's a Corviknight as well. I was like, what is that doing there?
I love it. I love it.
That's great. Hey, I mean, it's a previous regional champion as well. We've seen Nils Dunlop do an incredible job with it in previous times, even though, obviously, it had a bit of a thing of getting frozen in time or not. It's quite sunny here, so I'm not sure if it would be the same. But regardless, we are going to actually be able to feature our 2 undefeated trainers potentially. However, there are other notable matches to essentially go ahead and check out, because like we said, this is phase 2. Swiss round number 9 is going to be the final one of today, and there we got the confirmation as well for the stream.
Yeah, firstly, congratulations to all of our players that have progressed into phase 2 of this tournament. It is a huge accomplishment in itself, so you really need to be very proud of your progress so far. But don't rest now, because there is so much to do, and we've got some cracking notable matches. Here you can just see a little kind of snippet of some of them that we've got there. Roberto Parenti going up against Jay Ballister. What a great match that is going to be. And what dynamic teams to go up against each other as well. That could really sway either way in that one. Aurelian Sula performing incredibly well. We've not been able to feature them yet on the broadcast, but they have consistently been doing well to get themselves into the right positions into phase 2 and hopefully even further in this tournament.
Yeah, 100%. And something that I've noted as well, I'm not sure if you have too, Lee, I'm sure you have, Dondozo. You know, quite a few Dondozos running around, mate.
Yeah, there is a lot.
And it sort of makes sense, because the meta has sort of transformed to the point where it doesn't respect Dondozo as much, because there's just so much balanced comps going around that everyone's trying to like hyper-fixate over on trying to solve that issue.
Yeah, concentrating on too many other issues, and then Dondozo, as usual, kind of flies under the radar and comes in last minute and be like, hey, I'm here, and brought my buddy Tatsugiri, and now we're just gonna, and you know, and if you haven't got the answers for it, or you're not well prepared for it with whatever team you've brought, then it can cause you all sorts of problems. So no surprise to see players making that smart decision to bring it if comfortable. And we saw that we kicked off the broadcast this weekend with Marcus, and one of the best players with that Dondozo Tatsugiri combination.
Exactly that, but we have got our 2 undefeated trainers going head-to-head, 8-0. One of them will be running away with a 9-0 to end the day, the other with 8-1. Anthony on the left-hand side, we have got Pablo on the right. And Anthony, a trainer that has been able to do quite well in terms of consistency when it comes to a couple of their accomplishments they've been able to achieve. Top 128 in EUIC just this season, and a couple of top 64s as well. And let's not forego that 2024 World Top 128. Sure, it's not the highest of achievements, but they're all very within frame of one another in terms of different seasons. 24, 25, and now 26. The build-up has been real, and Anthony has been able to bring out all of the pressure. So good job there.
Yeah, you can see the progression that Anthony's making, and you hope that at some point it's going to kind of go even further, go even deeper, and maybe this is the event this weekend. Then we've got Pablo there. No massive notable accomplishments, but what an accomplishment to get 8-0 at this tournament. And a grand challenge, top 32 finish, and that was this season. So pretty new to the competitive circuit, and what an accomplishment in itself. Those grand challenges are not easy.
They're very hard. We obviously speak from personal experience, but we got Anthony Christopher's 6, which we've already mentioned, very familiar. Ogerpon Half-Flame, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Flutter Mane, Raging Bolt Incineroar, and the Rillaboom. A lot of variety in terms of the Fire Water Grass Core. we've got, understandably, the Raging Bolt, actually a Life Orb, Terra Electric. So just to make sure, you want to commit on the damage output prowess rather than the Calm Mind variant. But the setup is on that Ogerpon Halflame.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot more offensive options here than you would regularly see. Those like patient setup Pokemon that you would see in this balance mode. The Swords Dance, the immediate setup on the Ogerpon, if it gets room to do that, that becomes a huge threat. And then the Raging Bolt as well doesn't really need to rely on those Calm Minds so much, because if you can get it onto the field positioned well, that Life Orb, especially when combined with that Terra Electric that it's got access to, it's going to be hitting extremely hard. And the Taunt on the Fluttermane, a really nice integration here. I think that's good for preventing and shutting down opposing threats that might want to also set up themselves, or maybe even get a Trick Room or a Tailwind setup if you're in that position to be able to take advantage of Fluttermane right there and then.
Yeah, and I think those 6 in particular, the sets that I've saw, if I'm not mistaken, Marcus may have actually brought this to top 8 in Birmingham, and obviously has been able to share and build that with Justin Karras from over the pond. But we've got Pablo's 6, Ogerpon Halflame, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Fluttermane Tornadus, Female Indeedee, and the Iron Crown. So 3 same Pokemon, but the other 3 that differ, and they bring different modes as well. We've got Tailwind, we've got Sunny Day on that Tornadus, and let's not forget the Iron Crown. It is Calm Mind, but not Terra Psychic, it is Terra Dragon. Clearly trying to focus and prioritize on the defensive aspects of being able to take and sponge a bit more damage. But Female Indeedee, Helping Hand, Imprison.
Yeah, I like the
order to shut down the other Trick Room potential, or even follow me in Indeedee's.
Yeah, it is a nice option. I think the Imprison there can be really good. Probably not going to be that useful into this game, because it's not the lines that Anthony's going to be going down to. But I would imagine with the overview that we had before, of all the different comps that Pablo's been able to go up against, that's probably come in quite useful in a lot of games where you've been able to stop that opposing Trick Room. But like you say, I think the key is getting that Iron Crown set up and in a place where it can really take advantage of the Psychic Terrain. There isn't a lot on Anthony's side of the field that can really come in, switch in on that, and not take big damage.
As we have got the leads, now our trainers are going to have to try to battle it out. Ogerpon Incineroar from Anthony Christopher's side versus Pablo's Tornadus and the Fluttermane. Fake Out available on one side, potential setup of Swords Dance, but then we've got the speed, pressure, and control from Pablo's.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, though, the one thing you would say is the Tornadus there is sitting pretty happy right now. It doesn't have to worry about that fake out from the Incineroar. It is going to be able to set up some sort of speed control to help support that Fluttermane, although it doesn't really need it right now. But it does put a lot of pressure on with Bleakwind Storm onto that Ogerpon as well. And that's a big key point here. You don't really want to set the Sunny Day up in this situation in front of 2 fire types, so it's probably more preferable to go for that Bleakwind Storm if you want to keep it on the field and just get that damage off and protect that Fluttermane. Maybe switch it out, or even go for the Terrestrialization here and get that absolute huge damage that's boosted with that Terrestrialization.
Yeah, clearly trying to prioritize getting as much damage dealt. You want to be able to whittle away all of the available resources from Anthony Christopher's side, which is also committing to a Terrestrialization, going to be the Ogerpon. Let's not forget, there's no Intimidate on the field at the moment, so it's going to be hitting strong and true with its +1 of ferocious attack, especially if it opts in for an Ivy Cudgel that is boosted by the Sunny Day, which is confirmed. We've got Photosynthesis now activating. It seems to be special attack from the Fluttermane. It is crafted, it is true, and it is going to strike through the Incineroar straight away. One hit KO, because why not?
That is a huge knockout here from that Fluttermane, picking up a key knockout. But in response, are we going to see this Ogerpon go after that Fluttermane? And it is, and it will also get a return knockout, taking down the Terrestrialized Pokemon on Pablo's side.
What a way to go about it. It has been an absolutely explosive way to start this set in Game 1. Now, both of our trainers have committed with their Terrestrialization options. They've traded one of their Pokemon as well, but Anthony Christopher does have theirs still available, especially, we got a bit of a sneak preview with the Rillaboom in the back. It will most likely be able to enable a Grassy Glide focus perhaps, but Pablo revealing the Iron Crown here sort of gives me a bit of a hint, Lee, that the Indeedee has to be in the back, right? So it's going to be battle of who remains with the terrain.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, but how are you going to kind of control this Iron Crown if that, you know, with the speed control that you've got access to with the Tornadus, and then bringing in the Indeedee, if the Iron Crown can stop firing off those expanding forces, how are you containing this Pokemon? Yes, you have Thunderclap, but that's not going to be an option, really. And has your Ogerpon got enough in the tank to be able to take one of those expanding forces if that is the situation that occurs?
Oh, as we've got to protect from the Tornadus, the Ogerpon is free to go for the Iron Crown, which does not go for any defensive play. Of course, it is going to get absolutely knocked back straight into its Pokeball. The one-hit KO, I don't think the Sun mattered at this point. It just feels too much damage with the Ivy Cudgel, with the Multiplier, with the Terra. You've got the Stab, got everything going for it. And that's sort of an awkward spot with Pablo. Sort of what you were hinting to there, Lee, is the fact that you don't have that immediate burst damage potential available with the Iron Crown because of the setup required.
Yeah, you've got to really take a turn, especially against the threats on Anthony Christopher's side of the field. You've got to get that Tailwind set up. You've got to get the Psychic Terrain up. That takes a couple of turns itself, and all the while, you've got to try and then position that Iron Crown. But you're not able to do that, especially when you've got another threat like that Raging Bolt coming out and just throwing Thunderclaps around like it's no one's business.
Yeah, and as if the Psychic Terrain isn't there, which, understandably, because it is airborne, the Tornadus is not actually protected by the priority block of the Psychic Terrain. Ivy Cudgel, 3 Ivy Cudgels, 3 KOs. What a way to start off this game. My lordy, Anthony Christopher, please slow down, my friend, because you are absolutely rocking it a bit too hard, making me sweat right now, because it's so incredible to see the offensive pressure he's been able to just unleash. And Pablo, it just felt like he couldn't have an immediate response to it.
Couldn't contain the pressure there that the Ogerpon put on. I think after it terrestrialized and the sun is set there, it's really hard to kind of make any sort of comeback. And you see there that the Sunny Day really was the double-edged sword, almost acting against what Pablo kind of wanted to do, get the power up of the Fluttermane with the photosynthesis. But Anthony Christopher seeing that, identifying it and saying, well, if you're going to set the sun, I'm going to take full advantage of it, and then I'm going to just make sure that I am getting good returns on the Pokemon I've got in the field and that you're not.
Yeah, and Pablo's going to have to go back to the drawing board, really, and give a proper evaluation here, because, yeah, the Fluttermane did so much damage, picked up that one-shot onto the Incineroar, but the real question here is, how are you going to be able to keep it on the field in order for it to still act as that burst damage potential without getting felled by a KO from the Ogerpon on Anthony Christopher's side?
Is it better to approach it with Tornadus and Urshifu, Tailwind, and then get those Surging Strikes, hope that the Ogerpon terrestrializes, and then go after it that way with a Bleakwind Storm combination? I think that might be a better way to approach it, but we'll have to wait and see.
Ooh, okay. As we do have a switch up. The Urshifu is now on the field. Of course, it's going to be foregoing the Intimidate if it opts in for the Surging Strikes, which essentially ignores it and goes with the crit. But the Incineroar Ogerpon, you got Fake Out already available, and this is a bit awkward for Pablo, surely.
Yeah, and the other option here is as well with the Ogerpon having access to Grassy Glide. This is another offensive option that this Ogerpon has access to, and we can already see that Anthony Christopher has that Rillaboom in the back. It can switch that in, activate the Grassy Terrain. Incineroar currently the slowest thing in the field, so you don't have to worry about that terrain being overwritten by anything else switching out, and you've got a guaranteed Grassy Glide. That is going to have that priority. It's going to get the jump on anything on Pablo's side and potentially pick up a knockout on that Urshifu, considering that it is focus band.
Focus Sash, yes. It is Focus Sash indeed, and it's going to be able to allow itself to survive and force the 2-shot in that scenario.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think that you need to worry about if you are Pablo, and you don't want to give this away for free, and a Fake Out coming out into that slot. It is stopping it. Now we're going to see the Power Gem.
Oh, so close!
So close there. Super effective. Trying to pick up the terrestrialization. Obviously on that Ogerpon. Really great call from Pablo, but not getting the return with that knockout. So close.
And this sort of feels like maybe you could have had the scenario of committing with the Power Gem with the Sunny Day available in order to guarantee the KO if you had the Tornadus instead of the Urshifu. Urshifu at this point, not only did it not assist the scenario, it got its Focus Sash broken, so Pablo's already at such an incredible disadvantage, having to force the female Indeedee onto the field and essentially forego its terrain control at any point if Anthony Christopher wants to bring the Rillaboom in.
Yeah, and this is a perfect scenario, right? You just say, okay, well, your Psychic Terrain's out. Now I can win the terrain war, and I can, if I want to, I can go for that Grassy Glide into the Urshifu. Now that that sash has been broken, Grassy Glide's going to pick up the knockout there. The only thing that would kind of make that go wrong is Follow Me from the Indeedee that would pull in and give the Urshifu a little bit more room to kind of function this next turn. But still, you've got a really big advantage, especially with that Raging Bolt in the back, and just keeping terrain control is such a big advantage, especially when you're going up against this Psychic core combination.
Yeah, and Psy-Spam trainers tend to want to be able to bring that female Indeedee in as sort of like a bait, if it's like early to mid-game, in order to force an immediate switch out and preserve the female Indeedee and get that Rillaboom onto the field, which doesn't seem to be the case from Anthony Christopher's side, going on another onslaught. The Iron Crown yet again getting KO'd. We know for a fact the critical hit did not matter. That is so much damage coming out.
And that's one way to deal with Iron Crown. You say, yes, it's a threat, but if you don't allow it to attack, it can't be a threat at all. And Anthony Christopher dealing with this threat, such great fashion. And you can see the value here of this Citrus Berry on the Incineroar, going to be able to take these surging strikes from the Urshifu here. And stick around for at least one more turn.
Yeah, I know. The Coop critiques were not enough in order to be able to essentially pick up that Incin, which is allowed now to go for the parting shot. You get that pivot action going. Okay, sure, Surging Strikes sort of ignores any negative attack stat sort of scenarios. However, it does lower the close combat if Pablo wants to try to utilize that and deal more damage. But at this point, I think it's overly. I'm going to be real with you, because the Ogerpon, it's just stayed on the field. It's been allowed to, although at the same time, Anthony Christopher has not been scared and stood strong in keeping it there, just dealing damage.
Yeah, and I think you've got to give huge credit to Anthony Christopher for the way that they played this, you know, with what you can approach this matchup like. They have not hesitated to take knockouts when the opportunity was there, and there is another one from this Ogerpon. It is on an absolute tear in this game, and yeah, just the Urshifu against the world, and in front of a Raging Bolt, you think, what can you do?
No go. I think you have to stop right now. And there's no point for you to be able to process it through. Like, sure, you could try to evaluate if there's any scenario you can get rid of this towering, monstrous Pokemon, but it's not going to allow it. It goes for the KO. Super effective. Anthony Christopher Manolash is now our only undefeated trainer.
Wow, wow, wow. What a way to end this day one. We're into phase 2 of the tournament. Our only undefeated trainer going forward so far is going to be Anthony Christopher. And what a way to stamp your mark on this tournament, and what a way to go into the next phase as we continue. Just amazing to see, so dominant in every respect. And like you say, I think you've got to be brave, and you just committed to the opportunities that were presented every single time, and just made it impossible for Pablo to get any sort of footing in that game. And it was just, yeah, you don't see matches that often that are very one-sided, and it was all down to the leads in that match, and then obviously being able to take advantage of those situations that were in front of them to just not allow your opponent even breathe in that game.
There are certain scenarios with board states, right, depending on the matchup and stuff, where there are usually like momentum swings and whatnot from one side or the other, or whatnot from both trainers. However, it was just purely in Anthony Christopher's favor. Like you said, wasn't scared to commit. And that is so important, because if you know that you got the initial advantage in terms of like the offensive prowess or presence of your Pokemon, then you kind of like say, okay, it's straightforward and all that stuff. But technically, Pablo had speed control available in game 1, right? From the get-go. So there could have been an opportunity if they really wanted to go for the Sunny Day and the Photosynthesis special attack boosted power gem alongside the multiplier of the choice specs to guarantee the KO onto the Ogerpon Hearthflame, because you're able to, you know, be immune to fake outs and whatnot. But it's the fact that Anthony Christopher sort of like stuck their ground into committing, and Pablo just wasn't able to match it. And even when they tried to in game 2 with the power gem and whatnot, they're like, okay, well, that worked out so well. Why would you change it up? It wasn't enough because it just survived on like 8 hit points, which is madness.
Yeah, and I think it was the case of, you know, a lot of the time was, I'm going to make this decision, and whatever happens in this turn, I either get a big knockout or I get some value out of this turn at least. And I think they were the decisions there, and it was going more on there. You're getting huge value out of every turn. And the Ogerpon really was a hard thing to check, because without that speed control in play, you know, the Indeedee couldn't get the Trick Room up when it came in. The Tornadus wasn't really able to be that impactful with a Tailwind. It wasn't, you know, that didn't play a part in this, and I think that could have been quite impactful, but the Ogerpon was just in that spot where it was just superseding everything else in regards to speed tiers, and just able, after that terrestrialization, there was no way to check it with Intimidate, and it just took full advantage of that situation, that scenario, and Anthony Christopher, wow.
Explosive. Absolutely explosive. And let's give credit to Pablo as well.
Oh, I mean, yeah, huge credit.
Oh, 100%. Like, undefeated as well. 8-1 right now. Still has a couple of more sets that, of course, will be taking place tomorrow in order to vie for a clinch spot in top cut. And when it comes to the matchup, just reevaluating it all, you see that Pablo's sort of stuck in an awkward spot, like between a thorn and a wall, because the Tornadus is Sunny Day, right? In order to assist the Flutter Mane, etc., which is a special attack photosynthesis, right? But then the Urshifu is Rapid Strike. So if you want to try to go and essentially not auto-lose against a Hearth Flame with Terrifier,
isn't it?
It's very awkward because you don't have Rain Dance. Your Iron Crown is not speed boosted from what I saw, so maybe there's, unless I'm mistaken, there's no sort of way to get out of the awkward speed tier of the Ogerpon Hearth Flame, outpacing you essentially. So there's no need for speed control essentially from Anthony Christopher's side, and you're like, okay, cool, I just go for damage.
Just damage is enough, yeah.
Why not?
And I think that Pablo obviously doing amazingly well, coming in as one of our undefeated trainers to that round, and I think you take a lot more out of that game than Anthony Christopher will. There's a lot more value for Pablo to take into the next games of this tournament, because you learn a lot from those losses, and I think the adaptation, they've obviously got the skills to be able to come this far undefeated in a field of so many incredible trainers. So yeah, it's just going to be, just reflect on that game, put it behind you, it's done now, move on, carry on what you were doing, because, you know, and I think that's the difference between a lot of trainers, if they can make that step and just try and move on, take each game as it comes, rather than dwelling on maybe situations and things that have happened previously to that point.
And let's not forget, Pablo has not got as much accomplishments in terms of, you know, major event showings and whatnot. Top 128, or was it 64? Apologies, may have been. But there was a Grand Challenge or a Global Challenge. Let's just double check. Yeah, Grand Challenge, top 32, apologies, in 26, so this very season. More of a newer player, 8-0.
Incredible.
Serious?
Incredible.
Like, that's incredible. Like, I wish I could be as good as Pablo. And he's doing such a great job, so I'm sure they'll be able to keep it up. And this matchup did feel a bit slided in favor of Anthony Christopher. But regardless, like, I mean, both of our trainers do an incredible job. They have some really good chances going into tomorrow with the continuation of Phase 2, which we are absolutely excited for.
Yeah, we cannot wait for that. And I want to go back to the fact that I think before we went into the game, we looked at the differences to Anthony Christopher's kind of the balanced team build that they've brought to this tournament, opposed to some of the more common ones that we're seeing now, because of the offensive threat that they carry with that Sword Stance on the Ogerpon, with the Life Orb on the Raging Bolt. And it really felt like those offensive choices matched their playstyle as well, and that's exactly what we saw in that game, you know? Incredible.
It is incredible indeed. Unfortunately, we do not have an interview available. Things have gotten quite heated in terms of the temperature going. Anthony Christopher was able to raise it to the ceiling and through it, breaking it. So what we're going to make sure to do is give themselves a good break in order to regain that strength, that energy going into Phase 2. I'm sure we'll be able to see the continuation of it tomorrow at the highest echelons, only undefeated trainer. But with that being said, Lee, we're going to go ahead and cut to a very short moment break in order for us to be able to go ahead, wrap things up, as it's been such a fantastic day of VGC.
私の名前は木村翔平です。東京出身です。
Poland
Puff will take out the GM Pow, and all Michael Kelsch has remaining in this matchup is a sleeping Dragapult. Now, Dragapult is in a very nasty situation as Shohei still has 3 Pokemon remaining. Michael throws in the towel, and Shohei Kimura will be your 2023 Pokemon World Champion.
まだ実感が湧いていないです。1戦目はもうその想定していた選手と違うものが出てきてしまってかなり厳しい状態になっていたんですけど、パオジアンのつらら落としに助けられて1戦目を取ることができて、2戦目は想定していた対戦内容だったので、その想定していた通りにことが進んで、勝利を収めることができて嬉しかったです。相手のパーティーのリキキリンとウーラオスをどのように倒すかが鍵となっていて、それらに対抗するためにテラスタイプを変更したモロバレルが、鍵になると考え、臨みました。なんだろう、勝利することも大事ですが、その対戦相手がいることによって、得られる、友情だったりコミュニケーションが僕の中では一番、このゲームの大切なところだと思っています。次の大会も、参加して、もう一度2度目の、ワールドチャンピオンを目指して頑張ります。
What's my favorite?
My favorite's the one that's got jet black hair.
He's extremely fast.
Limitless.
So cute. She has a 12-octave vocal range.
Can be calm.
Powerful. Estilo como yo.
닮기도 한 것 같아갖고. He would improvise on the spot.
Just always finds a way to make it funny.
We both have very fast
moves
and can change the world using its mind.
Jigglypuff is my favorite. Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff.
Every single time you met a new Pokemon, it felt like you met a new part of yourself.
He likes to sleep. Just like me. 뭔가 여러 모습으로 변할 수 있는 모습도.
Sí, tiene muchas formas de superar a sus oponentes.
Como mischievous, pero su love language.
Sa loyauté, sa rapidité.
She uses her voice to protect herself.
It's home, you know? Totally.
That's why I love it.
My favorite is Eevee.
Mi favorito es Siga.
Arcanine.
Gengar.
Jigglypuff.
Luxray.
So, what's your favorite?
Gracias, entrenadores Pokemon. That, my friends, is the end of day 1. That was fun, wasn't it, Marcus?
Oh, absolutely. I love to see the team that I was working on for most of this regulation with a lot of friends do so well and finish the day undefeated.
Incredible news. Regulations at F. Sure, we had some established teams doing well, but we saw some plenty of spicy picks as well, didn't we, Costa?
Quite literally. That last set was absolutely phenomenal. It was such a huge momentum. I'd say not swing, but it was just all momentum from Anthony. Christopher's side doing an amazing job with that Odophon half flame. And if I'm not mistaken, was that the exact 6 that you had brought top 8 at Birmingham?
Yeah, same.
It was, wasn't it?
Same items, same movesets.
I thought it was. Okay, yeah. That is a very powerful team, my friend. I see.
Do you have any games that go like that?
Well, no, because I lost when I was playing on stream. I lost with it. I don't know. Maybe I need to
run.
Yeah, get some advice from Anthony.
It wasn't just about the balance, though, was it? We had great Tuskly. How awesome is that?
We did. We've had great Tusk twice. 2 times.
I thought that was great.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
Sure. We'll workshop that one, Marcus.
I'll leave it
Fantastic.
to you. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the players who are qualified for Phase 2, or Day 2 even. We won't be able to show you all of the names, but we've got some fantastic standouts here, as well as names we're less familiar with. Aurelian Sula, someone who's still on the hunt for that first major win. Antonio Sanchez, prior Liverpool regional champion. Who else is jumping out to you, Marcus?
Well, with Steven and Kusha, 2 German players as well, doing really, really well. Was able to talk to both of them, and yeah, they're feeling good. So that's love to see it, right?
Yeah, and then again, we got Roberto Parente still going very, very strong off of a incredible top 4 EUYC achievement there, as well as Marcus Coe. We saw at the beginning of today doing an incredible job with that Dondozo team that he was able to bring all the way through to the finals of Birmingham Regionals earlier this calendar year.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Marcus knows what's comfortable for him. It is that Galarian Weezing and Tatsugiri on Dondozo. We featured a good amount of Tatsugiri Dondozo on the stream so far today. Lee, what else is jumping out to you? What other standout matches or names here?
Standout matches, obviously, the great tucks we've already talked about. Miguel Piquet, we featured earlier. I think a really good player with that balanced team. A bit more of a bit less offensive than yours that you ran, Marcus, and what we saw with Anthony Christopher, but still just that more Paul Chua variation, but piloted it so well in that really difficult situation against the Great Tusk and made the right calls at the right time. And I think that high level of play was just, it did stand out to me. Looking forward to hopefully seeing more of them tomorrow. Expect them to go deep into the tournament. But yeah, just it's been an incredible day from start to finish. I think it's flown over as well, and I'm still recovering a little bit after that last match.
Mate, same.
Fair enough.
Trying to comprehend what just happened.
Fair enough. It was an absolutely blazing trail. How incredible would it be if for the final regulation set F tournament ever, Great Tusk goes and wins it, coming out from nowhere. You're going to be wanting to tune in tomorrow, trainers. Let's take a look at when we'll be kicking off the action. And remember, if you're viewing in Europe, and I hate to break it to you, everyone, the clocks go forward tonight. That is one less hour of sleep, everybody. Oh, yes. Brace yourselves for that one. 8:45 a.m. CST, but it's going to feel like 7:45. But tell you, if you don't want to wait that long for more Pokemon action, you can tune in to the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League Finals Day 2, 2:30 a.m. summertime tomorrow morning to fill in the gap between Phase 1 and Phase 2. You tuning in for that, Lee?
I'll be there. I'll be watching. I'll be ready to go.
If I'm not wrong, I think we got English commentary for that one as well.
Yes, that's right. Go and support our fantastic Pokemon Unite casters. They do a phenomenal job. We'll catch up with that one later on. Well, absolutely incredible. And if that wasn't enough, we've got the Twitch schedule for you as well. What other Pokemon action is going on the Twitch channel? Battle Dimension, Diamond and Pearl. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it, Costa?
It sounds very fun, and I'm not allowed to talk on this graphic anymore because last time I actually spoiled quite a couple of things in terms of stories. So all I'm going to say is definitely try to tune in and watch it before I spoil things.
But it's so good that you can also watch it on Thursday. So if you're into the Battle Dimension, then maybe that's something to do. And in between then, we will also have a rerun of the EUIC that happened just a couple of weeks ago.
And looking to the future is the Orlando Regional Championships just next weekend. We're sandwiched in between Houston last weekend as well. So much Pokemon action in consecutive weeks. Where can you follow along with it? Pokemon.com/broadcast. Yep, it's simply named so that it sticks in your brain. Pokemon.com/broadcast. That's where you can catch all the broadcasts, not just VGC, also the trading card game and Go. And of course, don't forget those Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League finals. Follow the channels at Play Pokemon, YouTube and Twitch. What's that hashtag, everybody? It's going to be a beautiful harmony. 1, 2, 3. Play Pokemon.
Play Pokemon.
Horrible. That was absolutely ghastly, but good job, everybody. Always a pleasure with you all. Thank you so much. And listen, it's a very big year for Pokemon, isn't it? We saw it just then in that little trailer with Lady Gaga. Yeah. What did Blissey say for Pokemon's 30th anniversary? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pokemon. Happy birthday to you. Hey, see you tomorrow. We'll keep the party going. Goodbye.
Arrivederci.